Commissioner Lopez,
Here.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Here.
Commissioner Gomez,
Here.
Vice Chair Shively,
Here.
Chair Hammond.
Here. And at this time, we have a Pledge of Allegiance by Commissioner Jimenez.
Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. And at this, we don't have a presentation, I don't believe. I'm just happy to see all the commissioners here. We move to item 5, consent calendar. A, Planning Commission minutes for February 15th, 2023. Are there any corrections, additions? I mean, from the commissioners then. Okay. I think the only thing worth noting, I think we probably discussed, is that in the minutes, I mentioned about the need for a stop sign or some discussion of a stop sign, but that was just at the meeting. I know we're going to do, but the idea is to at least note that it was discussed during the meeting, because we had all the other things covered, but that's one of those crucial things. So the idea of at least studying or doing a work study or whatever you guys call it, traffic study to consider as a consideration would be the only thing as part of the minutes. That was just noting that it was mentioned. At this time, is there any public comment on the consent calendar itself? From IT? Okay. And anyone here, it usually isn't, just have to ask it. Any comment?
I'm so sorry about that.
That's okay.
Were you calling us? There's no more Zoom, so I wasn't expecting you
Yeah,
to
okay,
call.
you're right. Thank you for reminding me. You're making your job easier. We can't do that.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone from the public? Didn't think so. Okay, at this time, you take a motion. Moved by Commissioner Lopez. And seconded by Commissioner Jimenez.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes.
With 5 yeses and 0 nos, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. We move on to item 6, public hearing. Public hearing, conditional use permit. Oh, 5-0, okay. Conditional use permit 22-05100. A proposal to construct a 3,831 square foot drive-through restaurant, Raising Cane's. Oh, it just went out. Okay, that's okay. On 1.42 acres, located at the southeast corner of Nuevo Road and Old Nuevo Road, within the commercial community zone, APN 311-050-002. Applicant John Pollock, Kimley Horn Associates, requested action adopt resolution number 23-05, finding the project categorically exempt from California Environmental Quality Act review pursuant to section 15332 infill development projects, and subject to the conditions of approval. It's a continuation from March 1st, 2023. And we have a presentation by the city. We've been away a while, Nathan. Okay.
Ex parte. Ex parte.
Chair Hammond, I recommend asking if there's been any
Thank
ex parte
you. Thank you.
communications.
See, that's what happens when we have a gap in time. Any ex parte communication or site visits to this particular location?
This is Commissioner Lopez. I drive by the site.
Commissioner Jimenez, I also drive by the site.
I know of the site. I've been around the site quite often.
Okay.
I have Commissioner Gomez. I've driven by the site as well.
Yeah, I drove by and stopped by this site. I know because the guy thought I was going to give him a ticket. I'm saying, what are you talking about? Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning Commission, Nathan Perez, Senior Planner, providing you this presentation. The first item we have before you is the Raising Cane's drive-thru restaurant, which is located at the southeast corner of Nuevo Road and Old Nuevo Road within the commercial community zone. And currently, drive-thru restaurants require a conditional use permit within the commercial community zone, and that's why it's before you tonight. The surrounding zoning is commercial community to the north, east, south, and west. This is a view east along Old Nuevo Road. Here's another site photo looking south. And here's another photo that shows a view west. And behind there is the I-215 freeway. So the applicant's intending to construct a 3,831 square foot drive-through restaurant on 1.42 acres. 0.28 acres is a segment of Old Nuevo Road, which will need to be vacated. Also, the applicant proposes to construct a 522 square foot freestanding drive-through canopy, which is shown in the red box, to provide shade for their employees during hot summer months that we have here in Paris. The applicant also proposes to provide a dual drive-through lane up to 34 vehicles. And just to compare that, the In-N-Out last year was proposing also a dual drive-through lane for 26 vehicles. And Raising Cane's is providing a dual drive-through lane for 34 vehicles, going 4 times above and beyond the requirement. The applicant also proposes 49 parking spaces, which will be located just west of the project site. And they're also proposing a little bit under 20% landscaping, which is going almost twice as much as the requirement for a commercial community, which is 10%. The hours of operation for both the restaurant and drive-through are 9:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m., 7 days a week. Also, I'd like to point out that there's a one point of access along Old Nuevo Road, which is shown there, and that same access will be future commercial just south of this project site will be able to access that access. So city staff has reviewed the project, and it meets the commercial community development standards for lot coverage, building height, and setbacks. And it also meets the parking standards for fast food drive-through restaurants. Now, here's the conceptual landscaping plan, which has a good variety of trees, shrubs, and also ground cover. Some of the trees are Marina strawberry, Catalpa, African sumac, which is appropriate with the climate that we have here in Paris. Also, gold lantana is being proposed as a ground cover, which blooms really nice in early spring. And they're also providing a Yetta hawthorn, which is a kind of like a quick growing shrub, which will provide a shrub hedge along the dual drive-through. And as mentioned earlier, the requirements for the commercial community is 10%, and they're actually going like 19.8%, going above and beyond. So here are the building elevations, which is basically reflective of the Raising Cane's corporate architecture, consisting of brick veneer, stucco, metal. And there's some boards here, so if you guys want to be able to look at them, these are some of the colors and materials being proposed. To the top left-hand corner, if you notice, there's a porte cochere, which is basically a metal roof that is provided along the drive-through. Overall, they're proposing metal canopies along the entrances and also the service windows. There's also a metal canopy along the outdoor eating area, which is shown on the top right-hand corner of the elevations. Here are the building elevations looking west on Old Nuevo Road. They're carrying all the elements of the veneer, brick veneer, the stucco. They're also varying the roof heights also. And they're actually providing this on all 4 sides of the building, not just 3 sides, not just 2 sides, but we've gone above and beyond the architecture. So in conclusion, staff recommends that the Planning Commission adopt Resolution 2305, finding the project categorically exempt as an infill project, and also recommending that the Planning Commission approve conditional use permit 23051000 based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval. So this concludes my presentation. The applicant's here to answer any questions you might have for him.
Thank you, sir. And at this time, are there any questions, discussion about this for the city staff concerning this project? Sure, go.
Thank you, Nathan, for the presentation. My first question is in regard to the dual drive-through lanes. You said that you guys are it's capable of holding 34 vehicles. Do you happen to know what the projected number of vehicles they're projected to have at one time?
Well, I don't have those statistics in front of me, but perhaps maybe the applicant has more information on what their queuing time is, how many vehicles they're able to accommodate. But I was going to mention is that they are going 8 times more than what's required per the code. And also, above and beyond what the in and out that was approved last year, theirs was 26. So they're actually going above and beyond. So
Of course, yeah, of course, I noticed that, and I appreciate that. Another thing is, I remember the In-N-Out was requesting a 50-foot sign to be viewed from the freeway. Is this applicant requesting something similar, like a giant sign, or?
yeah, actually, the sign is not part of this application. They're not requesting any signage as part of this approval. They just want to get.
Okay, so it's just what we see here. That's what we're gonna get. Okay,
That's correct.
and then in regards to the vacant lot south of the property, do you know if there's any plans for that? And currently?
Yeah, currently I don't know. I just know that there is an easement, provided by the applicant for any future commercial development.
So
I
they'll
don't
still
know.
have access to that
Yeah,
area?
so I don't know if there's any future commercial development to the
Okay.
south of this project site.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. No further questions.
Thank you, sir. Whoever wants to go.
Nathan, do you have any thing that you can show us with the adjacent in and out that's across the way? How does that drive inlet align with the in and outs?
Okay, so essentially the in and out is a little bit, the separation between this project and the in and out is actually a vacant lot. So I think there's a separation maybe around 80 feet. So in and out is actually located a little bit more towards the terminus of Old Nuevo Road along the I-215 freeway. So technically they won't touch at all.
But they'll share a road, correct?
That's
The
correct.
access is on Old New River Road
That's correct.
for both of them. So there's still an 80-foot lot, probably the access to the south side property then.
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Just to get clarification on the 2 properties that are going to be next to each other, the In and Out and this one. So there's not going to be any gaps in landscape. Is there going to be any gaps in landscape between the 2?
Yes, there's not going to be, well, there is along the frontage of Old Nuevo Road, but I believe there is plans to build something in between the In and Out and also the Raising Cane's. So in the interim, there will be a gap, but eventually some tenant's going to go in there and they're going to improve Old Nuevo Road with landscaping.
Okay. And I have a follow-up to that. So after that's been done, I think my focus is what's going to happen with the empty lot while it's empty. And I think we had this conversation with last year with the burger place. Don't remember the name.
In and out.
No, with the other one. Anyway, well, because there's going to be empty lot in the back, is it possible to speak with whoever would be responsible to put a barrier, a gate, a fence to avoid that empty lot to be used for illegal purposes or transient, anything like that?
We can reach out to that property owner since there's a gap between the two and they're not a part of this process right now. So we can reach out to them, and they have been speaking to us, the property in between, and they're going to submit soon. So
Okay.
there is resolution to that.
Okay. The concern is that if it's open for too long and if there's nothing built there for within a year or two, it becomes a target area for tents and stuff like that, that we really want to deflect. Thank you.
Okay, my question is, and I asked this when In-N-Out came, that corner, Nuevo Road and Old Nuevo Road, it doesn't have full turn signals. So, I mean, was there a traffic study done, and was that traffic study done taking into account the traffic that's going to be there with In-N-Out, or separately? Was it, I guess, the test done as an isolated restaurant?
Good evening, Chairman Hammond, Planning Commissioners. When they did the traffic study, they actually evaluated the impacts associated with In-N-Out as well, and cumulative projects. So there's some recommendation on the signal timing to accommodate travel, vehicular movements, as well as pedestrian. And we have a design for that at this time. However, we also conditioned the project that before we issue the occupancy, for them to do another study, additional study, because by then In-N-Out probably will be in operation, and we want to see the true impact. Then we can analyze the signal and see if it needs further modifications.
So it's not something that we can request as a planning commission. I'm very familiar because I actually get my nails done across the way and I go to that Starbucks. So I use that intersection quite a bit. And even without anything built on that side, it's a pretty dangerous intersection if you're trying to turn left to go eastbound. So that's, I know from experience that trying to turn left, and if all those cars are exiting and trying to head towards the freeway, towards the 215, if I'm heading south, trying to exit the commercial community across the street, that's a very dangerous area.
As part of the development, we also requested a signing and striping plan, so then we can make sure actually the alignments are set so that we don't have conflicting movements, if that's what you're referring to.
I guess
So-
I want more safety.
I'm sorry?
More safety, because I've turned left there, and even without that, it's fast. And even the timing on the light, because it's a turn on green, it's not a left, it's not a turning an arrow green turn.
Yeah,
So
there is no designated turn movement, turn lanes. That's what you're referring
I'm asking
to.
about the lane and the timing, because the light is just a green light. I forget what they're called. It doesn't have a green arrow where people turning left have the right and then going straight.
We can definitely look at the phasing of the light as well. We can take a look. And if it requires, because there's not adequate lane space across the street at the existing shopping plaza, Paris Plaza, I think it's called. Therefore, we kind of like restricted in designated turn lane movements.
That's a very dangerous.
So we can only address that with timing. So we can only allow movements from one side or the other.
So like the one further up east, I think it's the one with,
The
I
other
think it's
side
in
of
between
Polo
Sizzler
Loco.
or something. Yeah, there's one. That one, it's like if you're going this way, you go first, and then this one, instead of green for
You
both ways at the
separate-
same time.
You can separate, correct.
Can I request that happen without doing a traffic study, or is that something that we need to wait, especially if something's going to come in between them, that's going to be even more traffic coming into this area?
We can do that prior to occupancy. Reason being, we want, like I said, we want to make sure that we have true impact at that location, at that intersection. Then we can provide adequate improvements.
Okay, but we can request that as a condition for development.
We can add that if you would, yes.
I think that would
But I
make
think-
me
okay.
feel better. Okay.
Will do.
And also landscaping, to piggyback off of Commissioner Gomez. I'm loving the 19.7%, but I'm just thinking streamlining that area, because if we have different landscaping, I completely blanked out. I forgot to go back to see what In-N-Out was doing. Love what they're doing, but what is the consistency or flow? Is it going to look like 3 completely isolated, but like individual lots, or is it going to have some kind of flow?
Well, for the right-of-way, Public Works would condition the project to have similar landscaping along the frontage. I can't speak for the landscaping plan. I don't remember.
I don't know.
However, they have their landscape architect here who could answer questions, because I think she took the palette from In-N-Out also. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
So when she
I'll
comes
ask.
up, you could ask her those questions.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And if she doesn't know, we can always reconcile. We just put in a comment that that it gets coordinated with the In-N-Out landscaping.
Even if it's just a color palette, it doesn't have to be the exact same plants, but just like there be some kind of continuity on that side, so it doesn't look like 3 individual lots.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can we go back to the elevations, please?
Okay.
The one that shows the south, north. That one. Thank you.
There you go.
Okay. Can I go to the next one that shows the south elevation? Okay. So we saw the first 2 slides. Beautiful, a lot of detail. Then I look at the south, and it looks like an empty white board. So was that talked about?
Yeah, so that area right there is actually the trash enclosure, and that trash enclosure is actually going to carry the veneer over. And I actually have a slide for that. Let's see. Let's see for that. Oh, here you go. So these are kind of like construction drawings, because I requested that, and I know you guys were going to ask for that. So the base is going to be like a wall brick, if you notice, where it's highlighted, and on top is going to be stucco.
Okay, so it's not going to be a big white wall. I saw that.
No.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be an enclosure with just white drywall.
No, it's not. That's just to show the separation of the building, and because you don't want to make it kind of like hidden, or
Right.
you want to show kind of like the difference between the trash enclosure and the building.
And the building, yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what it's for.
Okay, I was hoping it wasn't, and I was looking, I was like, looks like a white wall. Okay. Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Yeah, and not much. I think one for me is landscaping, and that's unusual. My only problem is, and I'm probably more for the developers, African sumac. I have that tree in front, and I'm going to literally have to almost take it out because it grows wild and it's not good for commercial. Just telling you right now, it's in front of my house, so I'm an expert. And it grows, it's not like your standard tree, even though it is drought resistant, it goes all over the place. May want to look at that one. And that's the only one. I think crepe myrtles is good, but Chinese elm is the one we've been talking about. But it's one of those that it looks nice now, but some of the years it's going to be wild because I have to pay somebody to take it down. It's all over, and it seeds all over the place, and that's my only criticism of this. I think the one thing I would like to briefly have the engineer explain the old Nuevo Road. There's a little island there, and what's going to happen to that, and why we're not exiting onto Nuevo Road from this property. So if you want to give that explanation so we understand, the cars are going to be going all the way back through the property going out to that street. Whatever that street is. No, the one that goes north to south where the signal is.
Oh, I forget.
That's kind of,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
I don't think it has any. Well, it's Old Nuevo.
Yeah, the way it goes across the street with the signal, yeah.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Hammond. So you're,
Circulation goes all the way around as they do the pasture, and then they go all the way out back to the street where the signal is. There's no exit onto Nuevo Road, even though it's right there at Nuevo Road. And it can turn out right. So if you just let us know.
that's correct. So you're all familiar with what it's like now. Some people actually cut through
Oh, yeah.
the old extension of Old Nuevo Road. So that won't happen now. So you have a control at an intersection. And then they'll be completing the improvements on Nuevo Road with curb, gutter, sidewalk, planter, landscaping, street lights. And then where there is the driveway for the service vehicles for the shopping center to the east, They'll have a designated, of course, a fully constructed driveway now. So there'll be control at that location as well. So that cut through will be eliminated, and actually it will be where the drive-through lanes are for Raising Cane's.
I guess the question is, they're going to have to go all the way through, as it's shown here, back to that drive aisle and go out where the signal is.
Oh,
Yeah, that's okay, because it's shown now that they have to go all the way through there, all the way out back that way. So even if you get your pickup, you got to drive all the way back through the parking, back through.
correct. You'd
and
have
go back.
to accommodate the circulation, that's right,
Yeah.
and the queuing. So they'd be required to actually come in through Old Nuevo Road to access the drive-through. That's right.
So there was a reason why we didn't just have a cutout where the aisle of the city property is kind of obviously we're talking about.
Is the, it'd
selling
be
it.
the spacing,
Yeah.
and of course we want to make sure we control the intersection, and that would allow spacing. The driveway is set far enough so queuing won't interfere. Accessing the site won't interfere with the cars on Old Nuevo Road trying to turn right, left, or go through. So they're allowed one reciprocal access. So this development has one reciprocal access, and the one at Nuevo, the In-N-Out will also have a reciprocal access. And those are the only 2 points of access to the entire development, to the entire property to the south.
Okay, so we're
So future development have to,
catch up with that.
correct.
I guess, well, you see where the picture is, 38, 31 square feet. If you took to the northeast there, there's landscaping. So we can't go onto Nuevo Road from there. They have to go back out. That's a lot of driving.
Well, they have to enter the site. That's how we can
Yeah.
control the intersection
Okay.
and have adequate space for cars when they line up before the traffic signal at
Okay.
Nuevo Road.
Okay, so once you get your food, you got to go drive all the way out and go out back. Okay.
Correct. You have to go through the site and then get onto Old Nuevo Road and then exit to Nuevo Road.
Okay. And lastly, and not picking on the city, I'm just bringing up issues. And I'm one of these people that reads it too. In Michael Morales, the CIP manager, in his report, number 1, it says Old Nuevo Road provide offer of dedication is needed to provide a full half-way street, 80 feet, right-of-way, 40-foot half-width. I didn't see that in the engineering, so are we just making it, or maybe I missed it. There was something has to be done with Old Nuevo, because if you're going to have Raising Cane's there and you're going to have In-N-Out, and you know In-N-Out's going to be a massive amount of people, that little narrow strip there is going to be a problem. So we were saying we're going to make it an 80-foot right-of-way on the Old Nuevo, and that's according to your own public works, and 40-foot half-width curb gutter sidewalk off-street landscaping per city engineering conditions. So am I missing something here, or that's a very narrow strip, and we're over there a million times.
Commissioner Hammond, actually Old Nuevo Road is a 78-foot.
It is?
Yeah, we already plotted that, and we had the city surveyor actually plot it all, and the engineering condition is
To widen it.
accurate, correct.
Okay. So they won't have to widen that.
Yes.
That's the proposal, to widen it. If they're parked cars there, there's no way you're going to have In-N-Out. They'll be backed up all there. Then you have this one going to be backed up. So that's what she's talking about, the signal. It would be a problem there, because let's face it, if it's approved, you're going to have a lot of cars over there. And that's not even talking about any commercial development in between, whatever that is. So, In-N-Out in it itself is not In-N-Out. Okay. They have lines and 34 cars lined up is not unusual. 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., whatever. But then you add this. I'm just thinking of Old Nuevo Road, and I thought the city was going to make changes anyway to Old Nuevo, but I guess it's that little island, and maybe something Kenneth knows, that island is going to be city property.
Nathan, can you pull up the aerial real quickly, just so I can elaborate? So right now, just above the project site, there's an existing street that runs across, which is some of the reasons why there are some issues, because people are driving through that street. But the city doesn't need that street, and so as part of this project, that street will get vacated and it'll be incorporated as part of the Cane's property. And so the goal is to control that intersection and to limit all the trucks or all the traffic to come out of Old Nuevo Road. And hopefully with all the traffic measures and traffic study that engineering has put, that will resolve that issue. So that's the reason why it's kind of designed that way, and they will have to go through the city process for the street vacation. That would be a separate action item that's separate from tonight, but it's a condition to do that.
Based on, it's a good picture here. And I was sitting right there. I drove up there. That's why I was saying they're not going to turn out there and go to Nuevo. So it's going to extend all the way out to the street. So you're going to have that space there.
Yeah, so that little access road that you see there, that will go away. That will be the landscape area where the Raising Cane's project is going. So that will be a landscape.
Okay.
So just for clarity,
Right.
so that goes away, and it creates. That's one of the reasons why there's some conflict at that intersection, because at one time, Old Nuevo Road, before the freeway got in, it went west and east, and then when they realigned it, they kind of made a jog, and it created this situation where it creates some conflict. So this, by approving this project and vacating the street, that conflict should be minimized, or it should go away, and help resolve that intersection, because people are going left. People are going which way they feel they want to go, because there's no curb there.
Yeah. So that corner that you see, Commissioner Hammond, that entire corner is going to be developed
Oh, yeah, okay.
all the way, and Nuevo Road will be improved as well as part of
Okay.
this development.
Okay. That's Commissioner Mendes?
From traffic, from an engineer perspective, the flow, I noticed that, there's, I think, didn't write it down my notes, the certain amount of parking spots that there are, and it was something that we brought up with In-N-Out too, was the traffic flow when they were exiting. Do you foresee that as an issue? Is there like walkways, or is it just a free-for-all? If we go to the, yes, because it's 2 lanes they're exiting, and it looks like 5 parkings up north, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the edge too. So it looks like we're gonna have 2 cars kind of coming. So if these people are parked front end, do you think there's gonna be an issue with them trying to back out of their parking spots, people walking by, while they're pedestrian and cars crossing at that northern area?
Yeah, we did discuss that item. They requested to have, that's for the staff parking. They're designated for staff parking. That's why, yeah, we did look at that conflict of movements.
So similar to what In-N-Out did, where they're gonna have their staff parking
Designated
there.
staff
Okay.
parking, correct.
Yeah, because that seems tricky. If you're pulling up and somebody's exiting, like, it's head to head, playing chicken.
Or back to back.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. And I think that's it for me. So the corner that we see on the top part here, that is what we were looking at with the little island where it's going to get absorbed into this area.
Landscape.
So
All
ultimately,
landscaped.
correct.
Okay. Okay. That's it for me. Thank you.
Okay, that's it, unless someone else has any.
Of those 49 parking spaces, there's 6 or 7 staff parking. Are they part of the 49 spaces, or are they separately from 49?
They're actually part of the 49 parking spaces.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. And at this time, if our developer who has a presentation, just come forward, state your name and spell your last name for
Mr.
us.
Chair, my name is Jay Higgins, Higgins. I'm representing Raising Cane's tonight. I have a couple comments. I'll try to keep it quickly. Just a little intro about Raising Cane's, and I'm glad you all asked your questions ahead of time, because I was going to talk some about the right-of-way. I have some teammates here that are going to help me if needed. John and Trevor with Kimley Horn are our civil engineers, and Yitong is our landscape architect behind me. Kristen Roberts from Dallas was here 2 weeks ago, but she got to take a time out that evening, so she couldn't make it this week. Raising Cane's is a private company, and our restaurants are predominantly operator-owned. Cane's was founded in 1996, in front of LSU's college campus in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I said that in 1996. We've grown a lot since then. So far, about 750 restaurants nationwide. We are growing significantly in California as well, and responding to a significant customer demand for drive-through restaurants, which has not dissipated as the pandemic has subsided. Part of the reasons we're successful is that we have a focused menu. And the speed at which we can deliver food and get customers in and out of the drive-through. We only serve fresh chicken, so there's no question what somebody's going to order when they pull into the parking lot. That's why we have industry-leading under 2.5-minute wait times from menu board to pickup. Hours of operations are generally 9:30 in the morning to 3:30 in the morning. We are open 7 days a week, don't serve breakfast or alcohol. Customers we serve typically work in hospitality, medical or entertainment industries, to name a few that do not have normal working hours. We typically employ about 50 to 75 people at each restaurant, full and part-time, and about 12 at any given shift. Our customers are primarily drive-through oriented, with just over half going through the queue. But we do provide dine-in and mobile app ordering, and here we expect that the outdoor dining patios will be a hit, at least for most of the year. Let's see here. We do put our crew members out into the parking lot with tablets to take orders, and that's what helps speed things along and gets people from stalling in their vehicle, looking at their phone while they're waiting. So we manage that actively. We do have a third lane here as well. So people are in 2 lanes, and if an order comes out sooner, they can cut out of that line, and that moves the queue along a lot faster. This plot of land has been tricky for us since we're the first ones in. We are solving, I'll say, what's the right word, a little awkwardness left over from when Caltrans, I think, improved the interchange. And so happy to answer any questions about that, but you covered most of that. What you didn't cover is what's underground. There are quite a few utility lines underneath that, not soon to be abandoned right away, all of them. And so that's a heavy bill for us to pay, but we're happy to do it because it needs to be done. And we appreciate staff working with us on how to line up all of those activities, dedications, abandonments, relocations prior to us gaining occupancy. So with that, we hope you approve our project today. I can try to answer any questions you might have, but we do encourage you to approve our project.
Thank you very much. And you thought it was going to be real long, right? Any questions for the developer?
My question's in regards to the drive-through. Considering you guys have a quick turnaround rate, I don't think it should be an issue, but do you guys project to exceed the 34 vehicles through the drive-through?
No, we don't. There's always a honeymoon period when we first open, so that's my disclaimer on that.
Okay, so just...
And we will deploy extra queue when we open, extra staff when we open to manage that additional, when we're popular right out of the gate, so.
Awesome, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? Mr. Architect? Okay. Commissioner Gomez?
I would like to ask, are you open to revisiting the landscaping, just make sure there's a little bit more of...
Certainly, no, that's fine. If there's, we can do that.
Working with staff, yeah, we don't need that.
Through staff.
Yes.
If we need to do you've got me on the record, so certainly with continuity with the programming adjacent properties is fine. So yeah, that's not a problem.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I don't have any other issues other than African sumac is just, so at least look at that when I have a personal thing. It's 10 feet from my house. That's why I'm bringing it up a lot more.
And we'll note that you're on the record too with staff
Yes.
when we try to change that.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just have a quick question.
Okay.
Thank you. In regards to your business hours, did I hear 9:30 to 3:30 a.m.?
Those are that's our maximum hours of operation.
Okay, is that something that we can see here, or is it because I know that some close earlier?
Well, certainly, we're not going to stay open if we're not that popular at that hour. So we like to put that into our applications so we have that room. And, you know, in terms of the, it might have been your comments about homeless encampments or just
Yeah.
unwanted activity.
Yes.
More is usually better in terms of hours of operation.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because those hours sound great, especially with the In-N-Out being in that same area and having extended hours as well. And just having the choice would be something that I know that, well, I would definitely be interested in having instead of a burger. So, or I mean, or a burger, whatever. I love In-N-Out as well. But the thing is that I have seen that, and I've experienced where we go to a Raising Cane's and it's closed earlier than we expect, so then we have to drive to another city. So, you know, we're hoping that this will be something that can be considered.
After the hearing, I will get the address of that from you, and we'll try to fix that for you.
Or the dining room is closed.
Once you're here, I won't be leaving, so we're good. Thank you.
Yeah, same thing with the dining rooms, because I've had the same thing happen where I go and the dining rooms are closed and the drive-thru is the only thing open. So I like trying to match it up, but I also understand the need for sometimes there isn't a reason to have more staff members manning too many things. But I think it was more an issue of connecting and updating their hours of operation for the dining room versus drive-in. But I like the late, keeps it more public. You know what we didn't talk about? Lighting. Are you going to have lighting along the landscaping, or what kind of lighting are we going to have here?
We have lighting on our building, but I don't think we have any, lighting in the landscape area. Is that your question?
Yes, so would that be something we could request? Especially that corner is going to look beautiful and it's going to be like the entry point, so maybe adding a little bit of detail, working with staff to add maybe some.
Is it called uplighting? Isn't that the
lighting,
technical term?
spotlighting for the
Spotlighting.
landscaping,
That's a good
if
point.
possible, yes.
In regards to that, I just want to make, so In-N-Out's going to have the spotlighting for their palm trees and stuff like that. They're going to have that. So it would be nice to have something similar flow through that center. Just
We will look at that. I know that not part of our application, but coming in later is a monument sign that will be lit at that corner, but I think we can work with you on uplighting of certain landscaping and that, if it's not covered by the monument signage. Sure.
Okay,
that's fine.
perfect, thank you.
So are any of your 750 stores open 24 hours?
No, they're not.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I think
I'll check that. There might be a Las Vegas location.
gee, I think they're saying it, but they're not saying it. It's one of the issues, security. So obviously, the actual going inside the facility would probably shut down at, 11 o'clock or so, 9? I mean, walking in and sitting down. Then you just have the drive-through up to 3:30. So that's why the concern for lighting is going to be one of those things. Is we've had vendors over there selling things.
Understood.
And a few homeless that kind of go up against the wall there. So you might want to, that's a side issue, but just if you're going to talk about, 3:30 in the morning, and we're talking Paris. We're not talking Beverly Hills. As much as I love the city, it's not Beverly Hills. So you want to have that consideration too for lighting. And it is a technical term, it's uplighting, and it's just highlighting, like you said, if there's a monument or sign or landscaping, that is something that might enhance that area, should we decide, But that's, that's, okay. That's my only thing, unless there's anything else.
I did have one more. The canopy that's going to be for staff, that's where they're going to take orders, correct?
Correct.
Is that going to have any kind, not air conditioning, because obviously it's out in the open. I saw that there was fans under the dining area. Are there going to be any cooling measures there?
We can put fans under the canopy.
Yeah, because it gets to be like 113 out here sometimes. Okay, thank you. With misters, if I can request fans with misters.
Okay, thank you very much. And at this time, we open it up for public comment. Anyone from the public wishing to address the commission on this item is welcome to come up. used to stay the old Zoom thing. Since we're off the Zoom thing, I eliminate that statement. So if anyone would like to come up and have a comment for 3 minutes on this item, you're welcome to do it now on this item. Okay. Seeing none, and I should have said we close the public hearing. Seeing none, we're coming to the commission for discussion, analysis, whatever you want to say concerning this project. As usual, Commissioner Lopez.
Originally, my biggest concern with this project was with the flow of traffic, but it looks like the city staff and the applicant worked very well to work that out. So I don't think we're going to have any issues with that. Also, I'd like to thank the applicant for willing to invest in the city. I feel like you guys are going to be very successful here, and I'm hoping that would motivate other businesses to come to Paris, because I know there's a great need for much more restaurants and places for us to dine in. Besides that, I have nothing else. Thank you.
So I get to go a little bit way back a little bit because I am a LSU graduate, so I actually frequented the first store right outside the gates of LSU. So I was there many hours as I went through architecture school. There, you guys are open quite often, so we I had a chance to enjoy the chicken. So, but I think this project and the elevation of the project looks very well for the setting, and will look good in the area. I don't have any issues with the colors this time, or the design of the building. It fits well, and for the corporate designs as well. And it goes into a much needed place, and it fits the area for the traffic right off the freeway. Will be successful for the Raising Cane's as it moves forward. So I don't have any issues. As long as we get the landscaping addressed, I'll be okay with it.
Thank you for the presentation, and I really appreciate the work that the applicant has done with the city as well. We do get some pushback sometimes, so it's nice, it's refreshing to see when there's an applicant who is working with the city staff and with the recommendations, if there are any ad hoc meetings as well. That's a very positive thing and something that we're definitely looking forward to in the future. So thank you for setting that example as well. See, yes, so there's two options that I think can go out there for a landscape. The Chitalpa tree is a nice tree. We do have that in the city. I agree with the African sumac. The good alternative is my favorite Duke elm, because when you look it up, they're very similar tree. But the myrtle is also another good option. Something with color would be wonderful. And we understand the hours of operation, that sometimes it's feasible, sometimes it's not, and I understand security purposes. I think at this point what we can do is be proactive and try to deflect that kind of an atmosphere, such as the lighting, as our chair Hammond mentioned earlier, to prepare to avoid it, not to make it later a problem where we have to figure a solution. So I think from the beginning, putting up whatever fencing or lighting needs to be done would be wonderful as well. And I also appreciate the applicant working to finance the management of the power lines and the supply that's going on and the changes that need to be made. I know at that time that working with the city definitely shows as well that, the willingness to move in, and we do see that, we do appreciate it, and thank you for that as well. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Jimenez.
Thank you. It's so refreshing when I don't have to beg for an extra 1% of landscaping, especially when it's the entryway to our city and really going to give our visitors and our community a feel for what our city is like. So, I saw 19.7% and I totally relaxed. I also didn't have to bring up color schemes. I didn't have to bring up any of those things. So it's very refreshing. I really appreciate that the architectural design is a wraparound and not just the frontage. All those different elevations really, really add that sense of detail where effort was put into a project to represent our city well and represent the company well. So Kane's has done an amazing job of really maintaining the beautiful facade and great food. And I really think this is going to be great for our community. I think it's needed. I'm still very concerned about the traffic at Old Noble Road and Over Road. So but I have trust in our staff. So I know that they will do what needs to be done, and they hear our concerns and they address them. So that was my main concern, but I have trust in our staff. So just those few items that were brought up, but I look forward to eating at more places for our city.
Thank you, and I won't prolong it long. I think the colleagues said it best. I think I'm glad to compete with Menifee, who has one. 'Cause my daughter would drive down there and said, forget them in Menifee. Yeah, we don't even know what Menifee is anymore. But just joking, guys. But the idea that in a corner, and as we've said before, I appreciate that they're coming in. It's really detailed. Appreciate staff working with them. The only concern I had was that Old Nuevo Road. I didn't realize it was going to go to the frontage, so that makes a big difference with landscaping there. And uplighting is the technical term, guys. Yeah, and so that makes a big difference because when you're shooting light up, it really emphasizes, as you know very well, and especially at nighttime, you really emphasize because you're coming into the city. When, if you go 7 blocks down, come on, right when you come in the city, that's what you want to see: nice landscaping, things like that. So anything to improve that corner, and that street definitely needs to be improved because cars parked there and it's really ragged. But this will help, and I appreciate the cost it's going to be with all utilities. But yeah, other than that, I think the color scheme is fine. Everything else is fine. So I don't have a problem with that. And the faster, the better. But yeah, they thought through everything. Don't de-emphasize the number of people that will be there in the beginning. I think you really got to watch that. We got in and out. We said, you don't know this city, we do. That first day, and that first week, that first 2 weeks, that first month, you're going to have... So now you've got these two giants that's potentially there. Yeah, expect it. Yes, everything declines, but in and out does not decline. Okay. So 2 a.m, what are these people doing out at 1:30 in the morning? Okay. So it's, other than that, I'm fine. Any other comments? Okay, we're good. With that, turn it off. At this point in time, the proposal is conditional use permit 22-05100, a proposal to construct a 3,831 square foot drive-through restaurant, Raising Cane's, on 1.42 acres located at the southeast corner of Nuevo Road and Old Nuevo Road within the commercial communities zone, APN 311-050-002. Requested action, adopt resolution number 23-05, finding the project categorically exempt from California Environmental Quality Act review pursuant to Section 1532 infill development projects and subject to the conditions of approval. We mentioned some things, you can always correct me. One of them was, in terms of landscaping, coordinate with the in and out in terms of trees and things of that nature. Uplighting is a consideration also. African sumac landscaping, you mentioned one Chinese elm and crepe myrtle, which I also have in front of my house. Okay, and a traffic signal, not necessarily study, but just to look at that.
Phasing of the time.
Phasing of the timing. Okay, did I miss anything? Yeah, I can't.
How about adding fans under the canopy?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't read my own writing. So. And fence in the canopy, okay. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And we're ready for a motion. Motion by Commissioner Jimenez, seconded by Commissioner Lopez.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes. Okay. You go on the record. Okay.
With
Yeah.
5 yeses and 0 nos, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. Okay. Oh my goodness, come on. Okay. There we go. Do we need a break? Are we okay? Okay, with that, we move on to item 7B. Specific Plan Amendment 22-05053, tentative parcel map 22-05028, TPM 38385, and Development Plan Review 20-00021, a proposal to consider the following entitlements to facilitate the construction of a 254,511 square foot industrial warehouse building on a 12.60 acre site located on the east side of Redlands Avenue between East Ryder Street and Placentia Avenue in the Paris Valley Commerce Center specific plan. Hold a second. Specific number 1, specific plan amendment to remove a paper unimproved street from the circulation plan of the PVCCSP. 2, tentative parcel map to merge 6 parcels into 1 parcel, and 3, development plan review for the site plan and building elevations. APN 300-210-006-007-008, 026, 027, and 028. Applicant Michael Johnson of Lake Creek Industrial LLC. Requested action. I'm doing this for the record. I'm not just reading this for fun, guys. Okay. Adopt Resolution 23-07, recommending that the City Council adopt mitigated negative declaration number 2358 and a mitigation monitoring and reporting program, and approve specific plan amendment 22-05053, tentative parcel map 22-05028, TPM 38385, and development plan review 20-00021 to facilitate the construction of a 254,511 square foot industrial warehouse building based on the findings and the conditions of approval, and it's a continuation from March 1st, 2023. Don't ask me to do that again.
All right. Thank you so much for that introduction.
Chair Hammond, if I may.
Yeah, I'm getting ready.
Okay.
Yeah. I had to take a breath. Is there any ex parte communication or any site visits for this area? Thank you.
I always make you say too much. I'm so sorry.
No.
Good evening, commissioners. The project
Did
before
anyone have
Oh, sorry.
Ex parte.
Apologies.
No, none for me.
For Commissioner Jimenez, I drive by the site quite frequently.
I also drive by the site.
None for me.
Yeah, I drove by the site. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you. The project before you tonight is the Redlands East Industrial Project. As mentioned, this project requires a specific plan amendment, 22-05053, to remove a paper unimproved segment known as lots B, C, and D from the Paris Valley Commerce Center specific plan, circulation plan. Tentative parcel map 22-05028 to merge 6 existing parcels into 1 parcel, and development plan review 20-00021 for site plan and building elevations. The project is located on the east side of Redlands Avenue between Ryder Street and Placentia, and is surrounded by industrial uses and vacant parcels primarily. Is also located within the Paris Valley Commerce Center specific plan light industrial zoning designation. The project will allow truck access from the southerly drive. And I'll show you the truck routes, how they will get there. But trucks will enter from the south, exit from the north, and auto access will be taken from the middle drive only, and will be restricted to right-in, right-out access. And that parking area for the autos is protected and gated. We have an outdoor amenity at the back of the property, the northeast side of the property, northeast side of the building, and the indoor amenity is located inside the southeast side. The building will be approximately 254 square feet, 54,000 square feet, pardon, with 31 dock doors and 2 above-grade loading doors. 106 parking spaces and 14 trailer spaces, 14-foot high screen walls on the east, north, and south sides of the loading area. And yeah, that's it for that. So for the truck routes, the trucks will come to the site via either Harley Knox or Placentia. If they come from Placentia, they won't pass that residential area. So they'll have to make a left-hand turn onto Indian Avenue, move north on Indian Avenue, make a right turn onto Morgan, moving eastward, and then right southward onto Redlands Avenue, and then access the site from there. Similarly, if they choose to take the Harley Knox Boulevard access, they will move east along Harley Knox Boulevard and then south along Redlands and access the site from there. And then, of course, the reverse would be true as the trucks are leaving. The project complies with all of the applicable development standards, including lot coverage, FAR, building height, setbacks, landscape coverage, as well as parking, and is also consistent with the general plan policies and the subdivision ordinance. Oh, sorry, I think I missed one slide. No, it looks like that got removed. Sorry about that. So moving on to the rendering. Our architectural details include gray brick, window glazing, decorative cornice treatment, varying roof lines, recessed panels, and shades of white and gray accent color. Our landscaping plan consists of shoestring acacia, Palo Verde Desert Museum, Chinese flame tree, lavender crepe myrtle, African sumac, and Brisbane box. And there was an M&D that was prepared for this project, and 6 comments were received. One from South Coast Air Quality Management District noting that cumulative air quality impacts should be studied. The California Department of Fish and Wildlife noted that the project is within the Western Riverside County Multiple Species Habitat Conservation Plan and provided information for required fees and permits. The Golden State Environmental Justice Alliance initially submitted a letter with general objection to the project, but then after some correspondence with the applicant has since withdrawn that letter. Riverside County Flood Control notes that the project is located in an area planned for Mid-County Parkway Transportation Corridor. The Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice noted cumulative air quality impacts may be surpassed if the project allows for cold storage. To that, we have actually conditioned the project for no cold storage. And then one additional comment was received from Adam Salcido, just asking to be notified for any progression in the project. I just also would like to add that the March Air Force Base, ALEC, has also approved the project conditionally as a permitted use. With that, the recommendation is for the Planning Commission to recommend to City Council adoption of the mitigated negative declaration, approval of the specific plan amendment, approval of the tentative parcel map, and approval of the development plan review. I can take any questions that you have, and the applicant can answer some questions as well.
Thank you very much. And as usual, Commissioner.
Thank you. So you mentioned that there's a request for removal of segment plans B, C, and D. Can you elaborate on what those were?
Yeah, let me see if I can see it a little bit on this detail. So those 3 parcels right up at the top there are they are not necessarily lots B and C, but the street, there's kind of a street in between them. That's the paper street. And different parts of that street are labeled as lots B, C, and D. But that will be entirely vacated, and this entire area will just be shown as one parcel.
Got you.
Yeah.
And can you go back to the slide where you got the responses? You said you received 6 responses from
Yes.
in regards to the project.
Yes.
So looking at number 2, MSHCP. So now the project is it following all the guidelines as far as permits and
Yes.
fees?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay. Anyone?
Can we go back to the truck route, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
There we go.
Okay, so you said that they're going to travel to Indian, go north if they get off on,
If they get off on
Placentia.
Placentia, yes.
okay.
Yeah.
And you know where I'm going with this, and I don't want to hear signage. How are we going to prevent them from continuing on Placentia through the residential? Because it's a straight shot, you turn left, and it's right there. And don't say signage. That's a no-no word.
How about citation? and monitoring?
Should have included two. There's 2 no-no words now that we can't say in planning commission: citation and signage. Yeah, or enforcement. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, we're working with our sheriff department, and yes, we are posting signage. And at that time, of course, sheriff would be able to cite vehicles, trucks that are not supposed to be on that segment of Placentia. But other than that, this is the extent of the
Of what we can do.
implementation.
Okay, that's really concerning to me. Like, it's very, very, very concerning to me because Placentia, there's a lot of residential homes there, and warehouses, hours of operations do not correlate with people's sleep patterns. So it is extremely concerning that we haven't done more to prevent truck traffic from hitting certain areas.
Yeah, primarily we would like trucks to use Harley Knox, the interchange at Harley Knox. But we have ordinances in place as well, such as our VMT, that we want to reduce vehicle miles traveled as well.
Absolutely. And if they're coming northbound, they're not going to go to Harley Knox and come back down. And they're not going to go back up to go south.
Correct. However, we do have designated truck routes. And like I said, with signage and citation, we will make sure that we prevent vehicles traveling within that segment of Placentia Road.
So, hey, John, don't we have some condition for the driveway design so that if for some reason they try to go on Placentia and take a right on, in this case, Redlands, they can't maneuver to the right, they would have to go south? I just want to make sure that I thought that was...
That was my next question.
Yeah, those are on-site implementation measures. I thought you were concerned with the off-site.
I'm concerned with both.
Yeah,
That was my follow-up.
Yeah, for on-site, we have restricted access truck access, and actually we're putting physical obstructions such as reversing the curbs at the curves at the curbs at the driveways,
Okay.
specific to the site.
Good, so that was my follow-up question, because, you know, if it's inconvenient, and if they do go down Placentia, they'll only do it once or twice before they realize they can't turn into,
That's correct. They can make
location.
a right into the site.
so they're gonna have to go up, make a U-turn somewhere, figure it out. So if it's a hardship on the drivers, and that also reduces. So, good. Can we go to the one that shows the entrance and exits, please?
Yes.
So on the southerly entrance, can you explain the measures that we're putting in, or what the returns are gonna be like, and which way they can enter and exit on each of these?
Actually, from now on, I'm going to make a request from applicants to draft that on their site plan, so it's quite visible. But on here,
Blame me.
yeah,
You can
what's-
blame me.
yeah. But yeah, the southerly return of that driveway will be such that it's directional, so that trucks won't be able to make a left. They would have to jump the curb in order to make that movement.
And coming in?
Coming in, the radius would be such that it would angle the trucks to be able to enter the site.
So they can only enter from coming southbound, right? On both of
Correct.
those entrances.
Coming southbound, and the northerly driveway, I think, is egress only.
Okay,
The
okay, that one's
southerly-
egress only.
So you have a circular movement, so they come in one way and they be able to exit.
So they will only be able to make a left in on the southerly one?
Correct.
And be able to make a right out at the northern
Northerly
one?
driveway, correct.
Okay, that makes sense. Because, you know, one is a signage and all, but the other one is making it as an inconvenience once you get to your location to be able to not access it from a certain way. Because you'll do that twice, and after the third time, you don't want to go through that again. Okay, second, that auto access is not centrally located, number one. And number two, is that a driveway across the street? Because I know we usually like to align to driveways across the street.
There is actually a development across the street, so we coordinated all the driveways. And there's going to be a raised landscape median along there on Redlands. So, yeah, and then we don't want conflicting movements either. So we came up with these solutions. They're offset, however, there's a median in the middle of Redlands.
And
so
is-
both those driveways are going to be restricted right in, right out, as you can see the one across the street from it.
Right, because there's going to be that median? Okay, good. So they're all going to be right in, right out?
Correct.
Okay. Is there not room for there to be a left turn pocket, or?
That's what, we're trying to negate that at this
Okay.
location. We got truck movements. And we
Yes.
have driveways across from each other, somewhat staggered, and we want to minimize that.
Okay, perfect. And then trucks will only be making a left in
There
the
would be a
southerly.
break.
So there's going to be a break for cars traveling northbound trying to get in. There'll be enough time for them to pause and stop and not.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I think those are my two for now. I saw the gates that are dividing the auto parking from outdoor, but I did want to clarify. It said 14 trailer spaces, and it seems like there's a lot more than 14.
There are more than 14.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I know I'm not very fast at counting, but
I think that should have been somewhere closer to,
40-something. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I was like, okay, no,
the 42.
not quick at counting, but it looked like more than 14.
Sorry, just a typo there.
Oh, okay. I just want to clarify. So it is going to
Apologies.
be whatever amount that is, 31 dock doors.
Yes.
Can you explain what above grade loading doors are? Because there's two, and I'm trying
Yeah.
to locate them. I think I see the little ramps, but
Yeah, those are access, pedestrian access.
okay.
Yeah.
So what are two above grade loading doors?
So I can try to answer that, or the developer can, but hopefully I'm correct. But when typically the above grade doors are the opening for the I guess when the truck's back into the loading area, the loading area is above grade, so there's kind of like an L shape. So if that makes sense, they backs up into an area where when they unload, the truck door opens at the flush level with the trucks.
So the
the vehicle backs in
the vehicle drops down lower.
Well, that happens there. My husband drives a big rig every one that I visited. So I want clarification about what above grade loading doors means. Because there's only two. There's 31 dock doors and only 2 above grade.
So as they back up, the truck gets lower to the floor plant, floors here, and when they back up, they get lower.
Okay.
This might be a little unique because usually you're correct. Most of these truck loading operations have the truck doors above the.
Yeah.
So we can ask the developer to answer that question. It's more technical than maybe I can answer it at this
Okay.
point.
And then outdoor amenities. Would you remind me what those are going to be, the outdoor amenities? Because it looks like there's
Bocce courts, I believe.
bocce courts. Is there any canopies or anything? Sitting areas?
I believe that there is a sitting area or some shade over the court, yeah.
Okay, because I don't think I recall seeing that. And that's one of the things I look for. And there is an indoor amenity. Can I ask, was there any discussion about why the indoor amenities on one side and outdoors on the opposite side?
I think it was just a spacing issue because of the way that the racks are set up internally, that you have that extra area. So that just made the most sense to have, one amenity on one end. And then also, because it is such a large building, to meet the different needs of the employees. They may not want to run across to the other amenity if they're working, closer down to the other one.
They met the minimum requirement, right? There's one indoor amenity, one outdoor amenity. That's what we request in these types of, based on the size?
Yes.
Yes, and the landscape plan shows that there's also an outdoor amenity along the front of this building.
Mm-hmm.
So there's kind of like a covered area, trellis covered with some seating area on the front side of the building. So those are the 2 outdoors and one indoor amenity. That's the typical requirement for buildings of this size.
Okay. Having worked in a warehouse, if I wanted to heat up my food and have lunch outside, I would have to run all the way down to this side, heat up the food in my microwave, run across to try to have lunch outside anywhere. So it's not very feasible for somebody who might, in the spring or fall, want to enjoy an outdoor dining experience to have to dart across twice. I understand the reasoning. If you want to be outdoors or you're closer to this one, you have access to this. If you're closer to this one, you have access to this. But having worked in a warehouse, and it's too wide for me to run, and I'm not a fast runner. Heat up my food, run back, and try to have an outdoor picnic. So I don't know. I guess I'll ask the applicant if they're opening to maybe having like a little mini kitchenette or microwave or something in that other corner, so that if somebody wanted to do both, they didn't want to sit inside, they would have access to both. Okay. I think that was it for me for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. I do notice, can we please go back to the landscape slide?
Yes.
Thank you for letting me have that one, Elizabeth. We didn't plan it, just happened. But I do notice that this application is meeting the requirement pretty much. Did staff discuss if the applicant was open to more landscape?
We didn't, but we can have that conversation now.
I think moving forward, we would request that staff have that conversation with applicants when they're having their meetings, because that is definitely an important point for us. I will ask the applicant in regards to that, and I think that was one of them. I had another one, but just considering that this is such a huge building, I think we could have the conversation with regards like the smoking breaks and all that, where the applicants can have some shade. I mean, the future employees. Thank you.
Was there any feedback given from staff towards the developers about the architecture?
There was, yeah. They basically took the comments from the Redlands West project and applied the same or similar changes to that. They originally had the kind of rust-colored brick and changed that to gray to match, to be consistent with the other project as well.
So it does kind of mirror the other one. I feel like the other one had more architectural touches throughout.
They're pretty similar.
Okay. It felt like the other one had more.
I think they did a little bit more on the back side there, because on the other project, because that one is close to residential properties or adjacent to residential zones. Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask them if they're open to mirroring it a little bit more, because that was a beautiful project. So adding those details, because it's still within our city, so just kind of flowing.
Yes, I'd like to go off of that, and I remembered that was my question. In your presentation, it's still showing one end being with the rust color, and the other end being the different colors.
So
Right there.
this is an old elevation. My apologies there. Yeah, but this detail here, the rendering, will be the one that will be used, and this is mirroring the other project.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Commissioner, Vice Chair Shively.
Sir, is there any possibility that we can maybe not have no truck entrance on the very south entrance of the property, and perhaps only have entrance along the northern side, entrance and exits, and that way truck traffic doesn't have to impede with both of the industrial projects on both sides of Redlands, so they don't commingle?
That may be an option. We haven't looked into it. It wasn't proposed, but you're saying, however, with this this way would give them a better circulation if coming in both from one side and going out from the same driveway. They have on-site turning movement
Also,
maneuvers. So.
yeah, if I can add, also if by limiting the one driveway for entrance and the other one for exit only, you're able to, I don't know what the term.
The curve.
Yes, reverse, have design the approaches so that it's only allowing the trucks to go in one direction, whereas if we make one driveway for entrance and exit only, then you're giving that opportunity for the trucks to also go south on Redlands. So I think by having one for entrance and the other one for exit only, then you can just direct traffic to where we want it to go.
Also, I would add, and Commissioner Jimenez, you should know, since your husband is a truck driver, you've probably done a ride along with him. When trucks come into a dock to back up, it's better to be able to back up from that movement, the kind of right to left rather than the other way. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult because you have a much greater blind spot on that side. Yeah.
And maybe the applicant can elaborate, but sometimes they split the buildings, from what I understand. So maybe that was the concept as well. To mind you, they have to share the driveways on ingress and egress, but
they have to share the vehicle.
correct. Yeah, and
The
auto parking. Maybe to satisfy the setbacks. I don't know. They wanted the drive aisles on both sides.
And then at the entrance, I believe, noted on the plans that it's shown as 13 feet. It's supposed to be 14 feet. That's a correction as well.
Yes.
Okay. So all the perimeter of the property will be 14 feet high, tilt-up walls?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, okay. And on the east side of the property, there's residences, right?
No, not on this project.
It's light industrial too, right?
Light
Okay.
industrial,
But
yes.
it used to be residential, I believe, so. Okay.
Chantel, can you share the aerial?
Yes.
So-
Yep. So the project site is dashed in red, and so it's all vacant to the east of the site.
Okay.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Would you go ahead?
I believe you mentioned that it's going to be compatible with the Mid-County Parkway. Can you elaborate on that?
It's I didn't say that it would be compatible with it. It is, I believe, currently located in an area that is planned for the Mid-County Parkway. But in my discussions with the Transit Authority, it's going to be many, many years before they even get to those segments. And the project applicant is aware and is willing to take on that risk.
But as of right now, there's no interference with it? Or with the
Not
future
currently,
plans?
no. Yeah,
Okay.
that's right.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I have one more.
Go ahead.
Can we go back to the aerial, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So we are requesting that that little street be removed, right?
Yes.
Does that street, and I'm trying to find a better view, does it extend to the back lots? Because, there's
No.
nothing on those back lots.
No, it doesn't. No.
So if somebody, the owners wanted to develop that, would they have an alternate entrance, or is that something we would have to figure out?
Are you talking about the lots on the east side?
Yes.
So the lots on the east side would have to be accessed from Wilson Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they would have access on Wilson Avenue.
Yes.
Okay. And that's a truck route? I'm trying to remember. I don't think it is.
I don't
No.
think so. Is it?
I don't- it's not a truck
Wilson
route.
is a truck route.
Wilson is a truck route?
Correct.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. Wilson is not a truck route, but those are all industrial zone land in that area. So any industrial development that has been approved, and there are some that have been approved on Wilson. So the goal for those projects is that they get to the truck route and avoiding the residential area. So that's how that works.
Okay. This is not technically a truck route, but they would have like a condition to have access to their,
Yeah, they would have to have a condition to get to the truck route, just because they're zone industrial. And so the truck route doesn't identify every location of an industrial project. It just identifies the main truck route destination. And when we look at project, we tell them, how do you get to the truck route and avoiding the residential area or any sensitive receptor? So that's how that works.
okay.
Okay, and lastly, obviously with the, you know where I'm going to go with the landscaping, so do I even need to say it? I mean, African Sumac, so substitute African Sumac, please. He picked up on an issue that, and I was around for a long time ago, unfortunately. I think you're being very diplomatic and by saying Mid-County Parkway. I know what I want to say, but I won't say it on record. But in essence, it's not even a consideration. I'm surprised RCFC would even mention that. That's something, it's not even, I don't even know what the council did. I don't know where they're at with that. That's for them. But that's not even consideration at this point. Maybe by the year 3,400, we'll consider that. That ain't happening soon. So I think that's not even an issue, and that would have been an issue for the one development even north. It's off Ryder or south on Placentia, and all those homes would be a consideration.
Right.
So that's not even, I don't think that's even an issue.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think they covered all the issues. And I think the center median was brought up by the median. I was confused about that. That's what we discussed it earlier. There's going to be a center median all the way down to, what is that, Placentia or Morgan? So we're not really talking about auto access turning in and turning out. So there's going to be a center median there all the way along there, right? So auto access is only coming from Placentia and then turning in, and that's it. And they can go north, they can come back out. They still have to go north to Ryder.
Mm-hmm.
So we're really restricting a lot of stuff there.
Yep.
I was not understanding that originally, but I could see. Another reason, too, for the circulation is fire department.
Mm-hmm.
I would never want to have one entrance and out as the fire department would have a fit, they'd have a frenzy. Because if you have an issue, that blocks off, we're dead.
Yeah.
So I can't see them ever approving something like that. They would want that access south, they want it midway, they want to know it whatever way they can get in, but they want another access for them. Because you have trucks going in and out, and you get it back, you start getting trucks lined up as they are on some streets. The trucks are lined up back on the street, even on Harley Knox, where you guys' office is. You start seeing these trucks lined up to get in. I don't know why, but they're lined up and down the street. You wouldn't necessarily want that. But other than that, Placentia, and I think, that's what I meant to bring up. And then lastly, one of the things, and it's really, really minuscule, it's all elementary, the suggestion I'm going to make, but each one of these developers should make sure that their truck driver is handing them material saying these are the truck routes, sign off on it. So our truck routes are sending you to this. We're saying that if you violate it, the city is aware of it, that it's been handed to them. You are to go north, you're going to go that. That means it has it in their hand and they sign it off. I used to work for city government, so I'm used to having things signed off. So if you do that, that's an easy, cheap way of saying every truck driver, in your hand, this is where you're supposed to go on the route. Well, I decided to go left. You got a ticket, and didn't I tell you at the beginning you're supposed to go right up the street? That is a minuscule thing, but it's something that might help, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. But every truck driver would know, who's especially working there, coming in and out, whether you're coming in and out visiting or coming and dropping off, these are the truck routes, I gave them to you.
Right.
And so it kind of covers them and say, well, you're to go, you're not to use Placentia Pass, such and such, you go up Indiana. I'm like, here's what we have been told by the city, and this is the route. Then you have the enforcement thing. Then you have the ticket. But at least you're handing it to them and being proactive. So I think that might be one thing that would help every development from now on. Even go back to the other ones and make them do it. Because it will start, until you get the signs, until you get, that's a lot for the sheriffs to do. At least just letting them know that they've been told that these are, and here it is. And clipboard in the trash, put it on the side, under the chair, anywhere. And so at least they would know that. That's just a suggestion. I think that as a cheap suggestion, make a photocopy, hand it to them. Okay, that's it for me. And I think
I had one more. Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
You reminded me of something. I remember where I was heading with asking if there was a left turning pocket for auto vehicle, because there's going to be a break, right, for the trucks to be able to turn left into the
Truck access.
Truck access. And we brought this up the last time where,
The U-turns.
yes.
We can analyze that. If it's a safe movement, they can make it a U-turn. Otherwise, we'll have to have signage restricting U-turn movements. We can add that as a condition.
Can we still add the signage? I know it doesn't help, but
I'm sorry, add the signage?
We're gonna have the city with the most signs. Let's make them pretty though. And my concern for that is there's going to be the left turning pocket, and if it's just trucks or some traffic, but if cars are also trying to make the U-turn, it's extending the truck back up.
Well, no, we analyzed this just on the queuing for the, or pocket length just for the trucks.
And there is enough space in there for them to queue inside?
For the trucks, correct.
Yeah, okay.
I don't have that study yet. We'll analyze that when we're going through final design.
Okay, so there might be still some modifications that are done depending on...
For the turn lane pocket?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll analyze that at final design stage.
Okay. I remember that's where I was going with that. All right, that was it. Thank you.
is that it? Okay. Thank you very much.
Would you like to hear from the applicant?
What's next? If the applicant would like to come forward and make a presentation, just as usual, state your full name, spell your last name for us.
Okay, my name is Christine Saunders, Saunders, representing Lake Creek Industrial tonight. And we also have our applicant team, Mike with Lake Creek and his colleague Bob, also our CEQA consultant. We have our traffic engineer who are also available to answer any questions. I believe our architect is watching. So if we have any architectural questions we can't answer, then we can try to get him. So just a couple of items that I'd like to address as far as the questions that you had. The first being the indoor amenity area. I went back to our floor plan, and it actually is on the north east corner of the floor plan. So it would be adjacent to the bocce ball courts. And then any like break room type areas would be in the office area, which is in the northwest corner of the site, which is adjacent to the outdoor amenity for the lunch patio. I just would like to echo Chair Hammond's comments about fire access with the driveways, that was going to be my response as well. So thank you for that. The other item that I wanted to just clarify is that the truck dock doors, the question about the at grade versus dock doors, you can see it on the elevation. I don't know if I know you have the elevations, so it's probably not very good resolution on this screen, but if you look at the east elevation, you'll see that the dock doors are actually, the truck court dips down so that the back of the truck is actually flush to a 4-foot grade difference. So that's the primary dock doors. The ones at the ends are flush at the grade of the 4 foot above the ground, but there's a ramp up to those. So if that makes sense. So that's for a more like traditional type truck delivery. That's not a 53-foot trailer. We also have 47 trailer stalls in the truck court. I think staff has answered most of the other questions, unless you have any other questions that I can address for you, or if I missed any.
Can I just get clarification? Thank you for your answers. The exit from the north indoor amenity, is there patio cover on the outdoors?
Let me go to our landscape plan. So there's bocce ball courts out there. It doesn't show like a patio cover to the bocce ball courts.
Would the applicant be open to putting outdoor covering?
Yes. Yeah, I think that would be fine.
We like to see our warehouses that are coming in. It's a very sensitive topic for us as residents here, and you could probably understand why, as close as they are to residential areas. So we like to make them as comfortable as possible in regards to the future employees that will be there. So we do request and we really push to have those amenities be as comfortable as possible, so that they're not the standard concrete walls that only, absorb the heat from the sun but provide no shade for the workers and future residents who may be working at these facilities as well. So I'm not trying to educate you, but I think it's important for our viewers to understand that as well, that's what we're moving for, we're striving for. Another question regarding landscape, and I'm not sure if someone was going to get that one, but are you open to mirroring the landscape that's already on Ryder? They have very nice landscape that they have worked. Those applicants, developers worked with us and were very gracious in providing what we requested in regards to the gallon size and the amount of shading that would be provided. There's the Duke elm trees that are aligned the street down Ryder. It looks beautiful if you were to take a drive down there. They are still being constructed. They're in the works, but when they grow in, they look really nice. The trees that have been provided in this run and with these drawings, unfortunately, do not they don't match, and they don't provide the shade that we're looking for, again, because of the heat that these concrete buildings absorb and bring just more heat to our city. And this definitely helps, especially because we have, since it's so close to residential area, we have potential employees who will be walking to work or using these bike lane shared, sidewalks as well. So are they open to being able to come to an agreement to match with that landscape?
I would have to find out specifically which landscape that you're referring to, but yes, the concept of improving the landscaping is definitely something that the applicant is willing to do.
The city staff is aware of what we prefer, and they can definitely guide you within that. A follow-up question with that is that this has a minimum requirement of landscape and is meeting that requirement. As a guideline, it helps to let the applicant know what we're looking for, but I would also like you to take back, if you can, to increase the percentage of landscape that is surrounding this area as well. Maybe less parking stalls, maybe less truck stalls. This is a very big building. I hate that W word, trying not to use it. But it's such a big building, and it either to adorn it, what's the word I'm looking for? To dress it up? Enhance, correct, thank you. Either to enhance it or to, deflect from the gray as much as possible is something that we are also looking for. And that's going to help with the heat as well. It's not just aesthetics, it's also the heat that is absorbed. And in this desert climate, it's horrible. So we really appreciate that. If you could take that back.
Yeah, we will look at that. We are overparked by like 33 standard
There's
stalls.
plenty
So I'm
of
sure that there's
space.
space that we can find to bump that
And
number up.
thank you. And I'd like the staff to note that as well and consider that. Those spaces need to be used with the green. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
I did want to ask if you're open, just because I'm trying to remember what the one across the Redlands West or East? West looked like. And I think there was a little bit of an architectural difference, right?
So the architectural enhancements on East staff, or on West staff, is correct that was because it was facing the residential, and so there was some additional elevations that were on that building. It's the same architect and the same design aesthetic on both buildings, and so the frontage is very similar between the two buildings, and we mirrored, took your comments to heart and applied those here so that we could have them.
I saw that. I like
be
that.
Synergistic.
Yes.
So yeah, and just to an earlier point as well, there was a question about the uses on the other side of the street. Is that those are all industrial uses that don't have, the streets front the other way. So it's basically backyard to backyard of industrial uses that will have 14-foot high, CMU walls on the truck courts.
Okay. Well, would I be able to kindly request that a little bit more detail be added, because it's a very long building, and I love that the both ends are symmetrical. It's beautiful. The entrance is beautiful, but in the middle it is like beautiful, and then there's a lot of bland and then beautiful again. Okay. So maybe adding something a little bit more just to break it up, along with the landscaping, and I know possibly lighting, because I know there was lighting on the other one, and just driving by at night when those when landscaping has lighting, it just feels a lot more refreshing. It's also safer. We do have a lot of people that drive down those streets at night, so I'm thinking if anything happened, you get pulled over, you have a flat tire, you feel safer if it's a more well-lit community, which I think is an issue with a lot of pockets within our community, is a lack of lighting. Hadn't thought about it until my daughter started driving, because, as an adult, I'm like, no, I'm safe anywhere. where I lock my doors. But with younger drivers now, I analyze things a little bit differently. So just a little bit of lighting just to give moms a false sense of security.
Yes, we'll take a look at the landscape coverage and the type and the architectural elevations prior to council, definitely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with that, we open it up for public comment. Anyone in the public would like to make a comment at this time, come forth to the rostrum, and you have 3 minutes. Don't have to say Zoom anymore. Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. We come to the commissioners, if they have comments, discussion. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Okay, come.
You have anything? Chairman Scheidler?
For me, it just is really quick, as long as the conditions of approval that we got already.
Oh,
We're just doing comments, right?
Yeah.
Commissioner discussions.
Discussions, I should say.
Okay, I'm definitely, really hope that the applicant can come back with an agreement on the landscape in regards to taking up those 33 spots and parking spots and creating a more lush view from that street, especially since it's going to be facing the street, that the trees that are going to be used be the ones that match what's already been used in the past, and we are very happy with at this time that I know of, and the patio cover. Make sure that it's that it's a nice patio cover, something that will outlast the weathering here, and that will be aesthetically pleasing as well. And I think that for me that those were some of my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I really appreciate that the applicant is open to looking at the landscaping, possibly increasing the landscaping. And I just thought about this, since they're very much over in parking spots, like maybe enhancing the entrances where the truck entrance is, both the parking and just really livening up those little, I guess they're corners, right? The driveway corners, like really bringing that and adding those beautiful touches, lighting that up and really playing up the main entrances to the building, that with the additional architectural little touches, like having a focal point into the driveways, having that beautiful corner areas, having a beautiful entryway might be a great way to kind of minimize the impact that the W word that we don't want to say would have in that area, just to kind of soften it up.
Vice Chair Scheiber.
Just to clarify, I wasn't trying to remove the access point on the south side. I was just trying to restrict the truck access. I know that fire trucks are important, and they prefer to have a route around the property to be able to get access to it at any point. But looking at the rendering elevation, more than the 2D elevations, you could actually see it. It actually looks interesting with the brick that's there. So architectural-wise, I think they did decent job on it. So I don't have any issues with that. So.
Yes, and I won't prolong it. It's all my colleagues answered the questions, and I think my primary one was egress, ingress, and consideration of the truck routes, and I still go with that suggestion about handing it to them. Every single developer put it in there, that they see that. I mean, that's a very minuscule, but at least we're doing our part to be proactive. So the truck routes, this is where you go. I'm gonna go a different way. Hey, I hand you the truck routes. You get the ticket and citation for $500. Good luck. But at least you're handing it to them and say, this is the truck route, because people can get confused if we are. Imagine the truck drivers. Oh, I'll just turn right on this street. No. When you come in here, this is the way you go, right? Okay. When you turn to the left, okay. And truck drivers, right? But especially with Placentia, that can be confusing because past Paris Boulevard, they're not supposed to go there. They're supposed to go up Indiana, supposed to go Morgan, supposed to go. You can see how that could be confusing. So if people don't know it, at least being proactive, that's something the city can do. So that could do that with or without this, and I'm sure the council would like that too if you tell them. At least be proactive instead of, I'm gonna write your site. No, let's be proactive. That's a nice, fun way. I'm good. My only thing is get rid of African sumac tree, please. I mean, I'm not even asking that. That's not negotiable. Okay. So there's too many other trees. There's too many other things, and unfortunately, it's in front of my house, and it might as well be in Africa because that's how big it is. It stretches out. It's gonna be on a sidewalk pretty soon in the street. So I gotta pay to get that cut. So that's the only thing. If that's the only thing, you're really getting off easy. Okay. But there's some good suggestions here. So I'm done. And if we're ready, hey, come on. Oh, okay. What is this? Okay. Anyway, I'll read it from mine. Requested action. Adopt Resolution 23-07 recommending to the City Council adopted mitigated negative declaration number 2358 and the mitigation monitoring and reporting program and approved specific plan amendment 22-00 050 number B, 3 percent of parcel map 22-0, that's what happens when you read all this. 05028 TPM 38385 development plan review 20-00021 to facilitate the construction of a 254,511 square foot industrial warehouse building based on the findings and conditions of approval. Continue on for March 1st, 23. There were some, and you can add to it. One-way outdoor coverings, I think on the outdoor amenities, so to consider outdoor coverings. Increased landscaping percentage, that could be worked out with the city, but 12.2 is just big, making barely the minimum. I think the 14-foot, ensure that the 14-foot was all around. And I think that was one to consider. And I'm not sure about the turn lane pocket. That's an engineering thing about vehicles turning and making U-turns. I don't know if that's possible, but that's a consideration. Because, they're going to do that anyway. With you in Paris, they're going to do it. And I think that was it. Enhancement for architecture. I think enhancing architecture. I don't know if it was colors or the design.
Yes, I'm sorry, Chair. And do we also add the request to have in the conditions of approval that the purchaser of the property share the truck route information with the new owner? That it make sure that it's something that is communicated. We had requested that in the past last year.
And have signage inside their.
And have signage inside as well. I'm not sure if that continues to be something we have to keep requesting, or if it can be added as permanent.
It usually is added as a condition, a standard condition, like indemnification, that if someone purchases it from this person or new coming in, because they have the property and someone comes in and actually does a warehouse, they have to adhere to the same. Isn't that wording in there to the effect? I think it is, but maybe you're being more specific. That they have to adhere to the same conditions and everything else. So that may be.
Yeah, there's some language about the truck route, but we can make it more enhance it, talking about the signage information. We'll incorporate that additional language so that everybody has it. Okay. And there's other mechanisms that we can reach out to the industrial community, even for those who don't have it. We can do some reach out to those existing operators.
And just because simply putting up signs and letting them know sometimes isn't enough, but having them take some kind of accountability and knowledge of those truck routes instead of leaving it up to the city to enforce it. It's more of a partnership than anything.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. You get all. I hope you got all that. Okay. Because I didn't. Okay. Mm-hmm. Ready for a vote? Yeah. I did? Which one?
Your statement, so we can make a motion.
Yeah. Oh, no, that was it. I think that was it.
I think you got them all.
Okay.
If I didn't, okay, I couldn't read it if I wrote it. So, okay, sorry. Mm-hmm.
So we need a motion.
We need a motion. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we see it.
It's been moved by Commissioner Vice Chairman Shively and seconded by Commissioner Gomez.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes?
Commissioner Gomez, Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes.
With 5 yeses and 0 nos, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. I know the hour's late, but we need about a 10-minute break. If that's, yeah, I think probably 10 minutes. We're just waiting on one person. So. Okay, we're coming back together. We've got all the commissioners here. Approximately 8:21 p.m. March 15th, can't believe saying March 15th. March 15, 2023. And we're reconvening with item 7C, public hearing. Tentative parcel map number 38410, PLN 22-05124. A proposal to subdivide 14.14 acres into 3 lots for finance and conveyance purposes, located on the northeast corner of Getz Road and Etherneck Road. Applicant Matthew Villalobos, Green Valley Recovery Acquisition LLC. Requested action, adopt resolution number 23-06, finding the project is consistent with a second addendum to the final EIR of the Green Valley Specific Plan, pursuant to sections 15162 and 15315, minor land divisions, of the CEQA guidelines, and approving tentative parcel map number 38410, PLN 22-05124, based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval. Nathan again. Okay.
Ex parte communication.
Yeah, I was just surprised to see you again. Didn't you get enough the first time? Okay, is any ex parte communication or once is enough, or drive-bys?
I have none.
None for me. Commissioner Gomez, none for me.
I drive near the sites every day.
You are, I bet you. Yes, I drove by the site too. Thank you. And Mr. Nathan Perez.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, the third item we have before you tonight is tentative parcel map 38410, which is a financing map. And the project is located at the northeast corner of Getz Road and Etherneck Road. The site is currently vacant and surrounded by vacant land to the north and to the east, and also vacant land to the south, which is in the city of Menifee city limits. Located to the west is an existing single-family residential neighborhood. So here are some site photos. Here's looking east along Getz Road. As you can see, the site has been is vacant. Here's looking south along Fieldstone Drive. Here's looking west, and then behind there is Getz Road and also the single-family residential neighborhood. Here's looking north on Etherneck Road. Now, the project site is currently located within the Green Valley Specific Plan, within 2 planning areas. Planning areas 13A is commercial, and planning area 13B is multifamily, as shown there. To the north is R55,000, single family, and to the east is multifamily, and to the west is MFR 14. To the south is the city of Menifee city limits. So this is the proposal to subdivide 14.14 acre lot into 3 lots. Parcel 1 is 2.7 acres, parcel 2 is 2.73 acres, and parcel 3 is 8.71 acres. The master developer would like to obtain approval for this map, and this map is just for finance and conveyance purposes, not for construction. It's just to pretty much allow the developer to sell, parcel 1 and parcel 2 to a commercial developer, and also parcel 3 to another residential developer. Also, I would like to let the commission know that all future development will require separate development applications. When that purchaser buys it, they'll come in, try to get entitled, and they'll have to come to you for approval. And I'll also like to mention is as part of this project, there's a 30-foot wide easement for parcel number 3 from Getz Road to parcel number 3, which will provide a second point of access for that parcel. So staff has reviewed the project based on the development standards of the Green Valley Specific Plan for retail, commercial, and also multifamily for subdivisions, and it complies. So in conclusion, staff recommends that the Plan Commission adopt Resolution 2306, finding that the project is consistent with the second addendum to the final EIR of the Green Valley Specific Plan pursuant to sections 15162, and is exempt under section 15315, minor land subdivisions of the CEQA guidelines. Also, staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve tentative parcel map 38410 based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval. So this concludes my presentation. As I mentioned, there's no development, and the applicant's here to answer any questions you might have for him.
Thank you very much, sir. And are there any questions for staff?
Just to clarify, we're going to be keeping the same zoning for this plot of land, correct?
So currently, if you notice here, the current zoning for the specific plan doesn't align with the tentative parcel map.
Got you.
However, they're going to come in with a specific plan amendment to kind of, align the zoning boundaries of the specific plan with this tract map. And that specific plan is actually coming before you in April.
Okay,
So
so
I'm
that's
bringing-
going to be something we deal with later. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Anyone?
Me.
Okay.
So
Commissioner
to
Jimenez.
clarify, because I got it, but I just want to make sure I got it. The way it's divided right now, it's not aligned to the zoning areas because it looks like from the 2021 approved land use plan, there was a wider, like the commercial line was straight up, right?
Yeah, so let me bring up the exhibit here. So this is the proposed future SPA zoning boundaries, which will align to this tentative parcel map that we're considering tonight. So, so the applicant, in the next planning commission meeting, we're gonna bring that before you so we could clean that up. We also have a condition, I think it's condition, I actually don't have, here it is. Condition number 8, which pretty much states that the tentative parcel map 38410 will not be recorded until the city council approves the specific plan to reflect the adjusted zoning boundaries for PA3 and PA13B.
So we're not technically losing commercial land. I guess that's what I'm asking. Are we losing
No.
any commercial land?
You're actually gaining.
Okay.
Yeah, you're actually gaining 0.3 acres.
Okay, because
commercial land.
it was wider at the bottom and.
Yeah.
And you said something, there's gonna be a 30-foot easement? Is that the yellow line that was, yes?
Yeah, I should have described it a little bit better. So parcel 3 needs, 2 points of access. Obviously, you can't have access off of Ethanak Road because it's a high-speed corridor. But not only that, but the way the applicant provided the easement was to pretty much allow parcel 3 to have a secondary access along Getz Road. So that's what they're proposing.
So is it the yellow brick road or?
Yes, it is. Yeah, sorry, I should have described it better. Yeah.
So, okay, so that would be the second access point, so they would kind of be going through, in between the commercial areas. Is this gonna be, I guess, a separate access point just for the development, or is that also gonna be for the businesses?
It's also going to be, well, it's exclusively for parcel number 3.
Okay,
So they're going to have a reciprocal access recorded, to allow them to, if you live in the multifamily in parcel 3, you'll be able to go through the.
Getz Road.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So,
That was it, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Whether the secondary access is actually going to be from, did you guys change the street name on this?
Yeah, you got to change the street name.
So,
Fieldstone.
Fieldstone, and here you have West Elm Parkway. Changing the name on us, or it should be Fieldstone? So,
yeah, that's a cleanup item with the specific plan, so we'll look into that. So I'm pretty sure that the applicant is agreeable with that
Blame it on them.
change.
Blame it on them. So the access for parcel 3 is, one of them's going to be from Fieldstone, and the other one's going to be from Guest Road through the yellow brick roads to get to parcel 3.
Yes. I should have picked a better color.
Okay. Okay, that's all I got.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Okay, I think that was the only question, was changing that name, West Elm to Fieldstone. There? Okay, and I can't imagine, but if the applicant, excuse me, if the applicant has a presentation or a brief discussion, just state your full name and spell your last name for us.
Good evening, Nick Johnson, here on behalf of the applicant, Green Valley Recovery Acquisition. Thank you. If you have any questions, happy to answer them. Nathan did a spectacular job and covered it. So again, just a finance map so that we can get the commercial development going and keep going. In fact, we'll be back before you next month talking specifically about the specific plan amendment for Green Valley. So looking forward to seeing you next month.
Any questions? Let me get it straight. It's from 5.8 to 5.3 to 5.8 acres. You're going to go to commercial, so extended by 0.5 or 0.3, the commercial.
I think it's 0.3, if I'm not
0.3?
mistaken, yes.
Guess my math, okay. Okay, so 0.3 is, okay. And we can't call the yellow brick road, that's a future suggestion, okay. Okay, no further questions. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, hey, yeah. If there's public comment at this time, anyone in the audience would like to come to the platform, the dais, it's getting late, dais and have a comment. 3 minutes are allowed, and you're welcome to do it at this time on this agenda item only. Seeing none, we close the public hearing portion and come to discussion from the planning commissioners, if there's any.
I have no issues with this request. From the looks of it, it looks like it's going to help encourage commercial development in this area. And the south end of Paris definitely needs it. So those residents in the area are gonna get something out of this. So I'm all for it.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Wow, it's getting too easy for this one. Okay. Oh, I thought you had a question. Okay. At this time, we would ask that the requested action adopt resolution number 23-06, finding the project is consistent with the second addendum to the final EIR of the Green Valley Specific Plan pursuant to sections 15162 and 15315 minor land divisions of the CEQA guidelines, and approving tentative parcel map number 38410 PLN 22-05124 based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval. And seeing that there's no amendments or no additions, it pretty much stands as it is. Okay. We're just waiting on that. Okay. Is that the right one?
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez is moved and been seconded by Commissioner Lopez.
Commissioner Lopez,
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively,
Yes.
Chair Hammond.
Yes.
With 5 yeses and 0 nos, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. It's almost too easy. And with that, we move to item 7D, public hearing. Development Plan Review 21-00018, a proposal to construct a 37-unit condominium community on 1.82 acres. The project site is located on the east side along G Street at the terminus of East 2nd Street, within the urban village zone of the Paris Downtown Specific Plan. APN 310-070-001 and 002. Applicant Winston Liu of W&W Land Design Consultants, Inc., Requested action, adopt resolution number 23-08, finding the project is categorically exempt from California Environmental Quality Act, review pursuant to section 15332 infill development projects, and approving DPR 21-00018 based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval. And Mr. Garcia, we have you presenting.
Thank you, Chair, for the introduction. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. Commissioner Gomez, it's good to see you again. I think the last time I saw you was Christmas, so.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I did it again. It was the ex parte. It's probably a mental block for me.
It's a time change.
I
It's a
know,
time change.
I know. I'll blame the time change. That's a good one. That's a good one.
That's what I use.
Stealing my thunder there.
Well, I'm just getting old. Ex parte communication or site visit.
So we had a ad hoc meeting on this project.
I was also part of that ad hoc committee.
Yes. I have none.
Yeah, I've driven by this site several times. Trust me.
I have none.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, as mentioned, we have this evening DPR 21-0018. The subject site is located in the Paris Downtown Specific Plan, and it has an urban village land use designation and is surrounded by the same land use designation to the north, south, east, and west. To the north, we have an existing single-family residence. I know I've flopped them as far as the east and the west, but in the west, across the street from G Street is the Diamond Environmental Services, and to the east is the Country Hills Apartments. So I kind of got that a little messed up, so I apologize. And to the south, we have the existing Paris Villas Apartments. This is an image, a street view along 2nd Street at the terminus, going eastbound, I guess going perpendicular towards G Street, looking at the subject site. This is a street view looking northeast along G Street at the subject site. And this image is also a street view looking southeast along G Street at the subject site. As mentioned, we have this, we're presenting a 37-unit condominium project on 1.8 acres. Access to the site will be taken along G Street. As mentioned by Chairman Shively, there was an ad hoc meeting that took place in June of 2022. I believe one of the items that was raised in that meeting was making a walkable, safe neighborhood. And we believe that the applicant did achieve that by creating linkages and making it walkable for pedestrians to get from point A to point B, which is the areas that are highlighted in yellow, a yellow brick road again, right? But items, people are able to get around the site without having to get on the surface street inside. In addition, there are recreational and amenities being proposed, such as a tot lot, barbecue areas, and additional open space for families. In addition, there are 8 guest parking stalls that are being provided. And in addition, the units will have built-in solar. In addition, they'll have EV charging stations inside the garages as well. The applicant and his development team has also come forth and provided 16.8% landscaping of drought-tolerant plant palette. And talking about landscaping, here we have, right? This is just some of the plant palette. Of course, we have more plants being proposed. We have the crepe myrtle because of its enhanced color. It was placed upon the entry of the subject site. But we also have other box trees and catalpa tree that it has a good volume for shade, and that's sprinkled throughout the subject site with other ground cover and shrubbery. With respect to the urban village zone development standards, they are all met and exceeded. And in addition to the downtown specific plan parking standards, the spaces are met with a surplus of 8. With respect to the elevations provided, I believe that there is a color material board. Ms. Lupita, if you could please. Thank you so much. The architecture is contemporary. This was one of the items that was raised at the ad hoc meeting. There was additional architectural enhancements that were asked of the applicant, and we feel that the architect team did deliver. They did propose incorporating various roof lines, various sizes of windows, the integration of horizontal wood siding, and brick veneer that wasn't there before, various recessed paneling, and the color palette ranges from warm tans, white, and copper, just to give it more visual interest to the project site. We think that that color palette will complement the building materials that are being proposed for the project. And we think overall it will provide a visual interest to the project. These are the images to the north and to the south. These will be the building elevations for buildings 3, 8, 9, and 10. And these are the front, rear, and side elevations for buildings 2, 4, 5, 6, and 7 that are scattered throughout. With respect to CEQA, the project is categorically exempt under Section 15332 for infill development. With that said, staff's recommendation this evening is for the Planning Commission to adopt PC Resolution 23-08, exempting DPR 21-00018, subject to the infill development section of CEQA, and approving DPR 21-00018 based on the findings and subject to the conditions of approval in the staff report. And that concludes my presentation. I'm here for any comments that the commission may have. We also have Mr. Winston Liu, who is the applicant representative, and he can add to any more questions, to provide further clarification the commission may have. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir.
Any questions for staff at this time? Okay.
I do have a question for staff.
Yes.
Thank you for that presentation. It's good to see you too. Yes.
All right.
It was Christmas that we last,
wasn't
the
it?
week of Christmas that we saw each other, and I'm happy to be back with everyone. So everyone's welcome has been wonderful, but we'll stick to this and we'll talk later.
Absolutely.
So can you tell me what's the nearest park to this development? Because I can't think of one. I'm just confirming that there isn't one as a walking distance for
I believe the nearest one is
families.
like the ballparks going east across the freeway, maybe, but that's.
Okay, was
that
there a
is quite
discussion
distance.
with the applicant in regards to providing more family play space for the families here, other than just the tot lot and barbecue spaces?
So perhaps providing more open space,
Mm-hmm.
more green open space. Well, staff can definitely work with the applicant. Since we do have a surplus of parking, perhaps we can remove some of those and add more green open space.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just want to just respond to Fossfield Park is the closest park to the site, which is owned by the city campus here. And so, but just for context, the downtown specific plan, in most urbanized areas,
Yes.
you typically don't have as many amenities. The concept is that if you have an urbanized area, eventually there will be more amenities, such as the recent grand opening for I can't recall. I'm drawing a blank right now, but by the library, and then you have the art, the Veterans Memorial. The goal of the downtown is typically not to have a lot of amenities, and the downtown was developed and built with the concept there would be that amenities would be developed as the city develops. So
Yes.
what they're providing is above and beyond the minimum requirement. Not to say that we
Okay.
can't ask for more, but I just want to explain that concept
Yeah.
for downtowns. So I just want to provide you that context.
Thank you.
Outside the downtown, there's definitely way more amenities, but that's the context. But I just want to just start there so that we know why they're not proposing as many amenities for this downtown project.
Okay, thank you. I was thinking more like Mercado Park area. They have like a little park there, and then there's the apartment complex, and there's businesses in the bottom, and then there's apartments on the top next to the railway. That's what I was looking at, but I understand. Thank you, Kenneth, for pointing that out. Is this a gated community?
It is not gated. I mean, there will be a 6-foot-high block wall to the north, one to the south. There's one existing to the east that already borders the apartment complex. There was gates at the beginning that were being proposed in the front, but they were removed. The fire department felt that it wasn't enough stacking to get an emergency vehicle in there, and other traffic trying to go in there will cause a problem. So those were removed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the only thing about the parking is that as if I were to, for example, if I were interested in living here, I'd like there to be visitor parking, and there's only 8 spots of visitor parking for for how many, 30-something units? And so I just felt like that was just a little limiting, and that may be a potential issue, but then I guess that would be between the landowner or the management company and the resident. The 6-foot walls, is it within the entire perimeter other than the entrance?
Yeah, so to the north, to the south, and there's already an existing one to the east.
Okay. Okay, so that explains why there's not enough landscape on that side, or not the landscape on that side. Okay. And these have the covers for the outdoor areas. It's all actual real trees, not artificial. Is that correct? There's no artificial covers.
Correct.
There's no artificial covers at all.
Correct. There.
So in the fall, when the leaves fall, there's going to be no protection from the sun, basically, for those who are out there. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Would you remind me? I know that gates right up at the entrance maybe weren't allowed, but was it an alternative to have them at the end of the drive-in, like at the end of that first building? So I don't know where the fire marshal saw the gates proposed.
They were proposed where the landscape median is in the middle. There was gates that were being proposed there.
Not at the end of the median?
No, they were proposed in the middle.
Do you think it would change if they were proposed at the end of the median?
We can consult with the fire department to see if the additional backup of the gates would be okay, would provide enough clearance for them.
Yeah, because I remember I liked that it was gated, so then there wouldn't have to be a log-tot area. So if you would consult with the fire.
We'll consult with the fire department.
Yes. And if that happens, then would there be gates up front again, or would there be some kind of fencing around the development? I'm trying to remember if there would be.
You would like to see fencing along G Street?
I don't remember if there was something proposed when we first looked at it.
There is only fencing. Each unit has a little patio courtyard, if you will, a little 5-foot area. They have a little low fence as far as, for privacy purposes, just to mark their own area, but there is no fencing.
Okay. Okay.
Commissioner Jimenez, just for clarification on the gates, it would be challenging unless they change the site plan to have gates, because you have those drive aisles that's at the very entrance for access to the garages. So ideally, we would have to place, or the applicant would have to place the gates
Further
right up at the back, on the back of the units facing the street, but then you wouldn't have enough, I don't know what the word is.
Radius for them to open up.
No, like turn around, like if you make the wrong turn, usually you have space for the car to go around that island and then back out to the street again. So there's just not enough room for them
I see what
to-
you're saying. Yeah. And that middle point of the median was what they said was too close.
Correct.
Was it because it was one large door? Did we look at the option of having them a little bit further up without really impacting that change and having double doors instead of
It was a swinging door,
But
swinging
one-
gate.
one swinging gate instead of two that meet, right?
Correct, right. So it would be one swinging gate for coming in, one swinging gate for going out.
Do you think it would matter if there was like two at each section instead of one big one that kind of swung and had a wider range instead of two smaller ones that have
Biparting gate?
that?
Yeah, we can look into that. What if our marshal, maybe John, who's here, might have
Some insight.
additional insight to that.
Well, typically, you know, when you ingressing or egressing, you want the gates open. I'm sure Commissioner Shively can expand on that. You want it opening the way you're going in, or egressing or ingressing or egressing. So here, I think if you put it too far back, it would restrict access to the
Those
garages, to the alleys, to the garages.
You also need so many feet for the fire truck to get in before the gates are open.
Right. And when you're egressing, then you don't want it to close on your trunk.
Alfredo, are
Yes.
these units going to be rented or sold?
I believe they are sold, but I'll let the applicant expand on that.
So in their patio area, just dirt and then a small stoop for the door?
Correct.
Okay.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
I didn't know.
It's a time change.
I know. I can't say anything. I've been messing up half tonight. Okay. 2 points, and it's not really a negative thing on the project.
Okay.
Number one, we're talking condominiums. Now, there's one other one in your area, which is Avalon. There's a condominium project that's doing very well. I actually probably the only person here that got a tour there because I was here when they started. And they were significantly priced, but it was put in there. Two things that I think was already discussed. Number one, not having gates around this property means I ain't going to go in here. I'm going to buy something, you better put a gate there. It's not going to happen. You have zero tenants, sorry. So apartments are one thing, but when you're talking about paying for something, whether it's 6 feet, 8 feet, it could be tubular, that's really hard to digest for me. That's hard. You needed that. That's a consideration. I probably talked to him, but you want to pay for something. You want some security, especially when it comes to condominiums and townhomes. I know my daughter just got one in San Diego, and it's supremely hard to get in there. You ain't paying that amount of money in San Diego and not having gates. So they said there's going to be zero tenants. Second, when you talk about, if you're looking at our Blather landscaping plan, there's no African sumac. Thank you. I don't know why there would not be a gate, a double gate, one going out. One that to me is kind of elementary school mindset. I don't understand why you wouldn't have one going in because you don't have a security guard. You can't afford that with 37 units. But why you wouldn't have one gate going in? Now, two things could be done. Where you're showing that arrow, showing the dwarf bottle brush, you can eliminate that whole landscape area, eliminate the crepe myrtle area, and have a wider entrance, right? You don't need that. So, and then the medium does not have to be that thick. So that gives you a turnaround radius to me. If there's a gate, it's right there at the, just where those arrows are, that's the only gate. Nowhere back, nowhere inside, that would be the gate. And wide enough, that would, if you took away the landscaping buffer, I don't mind, to me, then you have a wider radius to turn in there. But if you're not going to have somebody there, that makes more sense to have it coming in a gate. This is a security issue, and this is a Paris issue, because you're off 4th Street, and okay, I need to fill in the blanks. You're going to want some security, and I don't know that you want. Now, I'm going to give you some perspective, and this is what happens when you're here 32 years. There's a apartment, I'm not going to mention the name, off of Lee Street and Redlands, and what it is, the apartments are put right there. I didn't vote for this stuff. Apartments are right there, the walls there, people just jump over the wall. Okay, no fence, no separation, no nothing. They just run right in there. Okay, or they're running out because they don't want to get caught, so they jump over the fence to get out of there. But the idea is, without any barrier, there's nothing to limit. And you're coming off 4th Street, and people tend to wander off 4th Street. That is a major consideration for me on this project. Okay, so I just think that needs to be at least looked at least, and those are some suggestions I'm making. I'm not an engineer. I'm just saying those are some possible things. I don't think you necessarily need those landscaping. So if that's taking away 5 feet, you have more quality paving, not junk paving, quality paving there. That radius is there to turn, and you can have a gate, potential gate there. I think that makes better sense. Fence around it, like you mentioned, it's kind of hard to have a condominium project and not have a fence in the front. You really want somebody just running right into there. That's kind of hard. I'm not talking about a wall, okay, but it would be the thing that's really nice.
Decorative fencing
yes,
with
that would be hard to swallow.
Column, decorative column.
I'm going to pay $304,000 for a condominium.
Iron fence.
You better have some.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's,
we'll definitely work with the applicant.
Yes. Yeah. Because it's protection city. I'm sorry. I mean, if I'm going to pay that much and it ain't going to be $100,000,
I agree.
you're going to have some security, baby, especially off 4th Street. Okay.
Solve the problem now
before it becomes an issue. Yeah, and that's the only thing I would, at least a discussion, a major discussion, and I think that was my only points. And I won't get to discussion about whether I like it or not. But I'm just saying, as a technical thing, that's one of those things that, that's a consideration. Knowing that area, the apartments to the south, it's going to be a 6-foot wall. Is there a 6-foot wall going to that apartment building to the south?
To the south, there's only an existing chain link fence right now.
So you have to put a wall. That's
so we're going to put in a 6-foot
solid wall.
6-foot high wall. What?
Solid wall, not tubular, right?
Solid wall.
Okay, and that's on the yeah, please. I already know the one to the going east.
To the east, yes.
And north is a single residence?
There's a single family residence, and it just has a chain link fence as well.
I'm just getting it straight. Okay.
Yeah, so there'll be a block wall there.
Okay. I'm good. As far as questions. Anyone else?
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank you.
You're off easy.
There's still blood in my veins right now. Thank you.
Okay. At this time, I know it's way back there. If the applicant would like to make a presentation or anything, please feel free to do so. Just as always, state your full name and spell your last name for us. Thank you.
Good evening, Planning Commissioner. My name is Winston Liu, WW Land Design Consultants. Thank you for in review this project. Thank you for kindness planning offer. They've been working about 2 years for this project in the planning stage. So we're bringing to this situation right now. So answer your question. So you mentioned about this project will be sold individually. We did file the tentative parcel map for the condominium purpose already. So we read all the drafting of the contingent approval. We discussed with the owner back there. We're the architect and engineer. We can comply all the necessary conditions. So we're ready to answer you any more questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the? Oh, sure. We'll start here. We didn't think it was going to be that easy, right?
Yeah. Commissioner Gomez touched on it real quickly. Looking at the plans, I noticed that there's no roof or shading over the jungle gym or the playground. Would you be open to including that to the project?
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Whoever wants to. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. There was a lot of updates made since the ad hoc committee, but I wanted to ask, in the color schemes that were brought in, the copper really doesn't look very nice. So would you be open to working with staff and finding a different color other than the copper one to complement everything?
Sure, definitely we can do that, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
And, I did notice, and I hadn't noticed before, that the trash enclosure, that's right by the tot lot, right? That's a trash enclosure?
Trash closure, yes. Just next to the green tot lot.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
yes.
a tot lot, so that's where
Yeah.
families are gonna be playing with their kids. I don't know if there's a way to work with staff and maybe relocating the trash enclosure, just because it's really close to where we would have toddlers and families playing.
Correct. So there are two trash enclosures. They are surrounded with landscaping to obscure the vision.
But the smell, I'm
but the
thinking smell.
Okay.
I just thought about that, and I hadn't noticed that before.
Somewhere else.
Okay.
Is there a drawing of the
Trash enclosures?
trash enclosures so we can take a look at it?
We can look at it and work around there, yeah.
When you say there's landscaping, are we talking about a wall with landscaping like vines over it? It's 6 feet or 7 feet or whatever it is?
Correct, right. So there is a walkway to get to the trash enclosure, right, for the elements like rain. But there is also surrounded with some landscaping, shrubbery, vines, and trees. That's for the visual aspect, of course, but if smell is the other one, I think it will be a little challenging because I don't think there's any other location that we can place it where it's not going to be near a single-family home.
Oh, I see, yeah.
Unless we were to move the southern trash enclosure next to the existing northern one, so the families that are congregating by the tot lot and the open space will be far away from that smell. Is that?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because then it would be longer walk for the families in the south. I'm trying to think if
Correct.
there's somewhere else. And I don't know if this is a possibility. To the left of the tot lot, there's another, is that where the grilling area is too?
Correct.
Okay, so that wouldn't work either, because that would be too close to where people are trying to eat. How about here, like hidden a little bit further up, because there isn't a house really close to that, where those little trees are, further on the left.
Okay, I think I know.
You
what
see the
area.
north, see all that square pavement just to the southeast, right there on that corner. There's 2 trees, and then there's parking spaces.
Yeah, that right
We don't have
to
a
the left
pointer,
of the
so-
parking spaces, yeah.
Okay.
So just west of where you're talking about, there's 2
Yeah.
trees shown there.
So right here, I think.
We push back because they are like in the close
Pretty
to
much,
this
yeah.
building here.
It's
It'll
kind
be
of
too close to this one.
Like right here.
Right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. And we can still hide it behind some shrubbery, because it is gonna be landscaped
There's
and,
nothing really. Right here.
yeah.
Is
Just that it's not so close, and then the nearest house, like, it looks like there's a parking spot or
in
something else
between.
right in between, so it's not immediately next to that.
Okay. Staff could definitely work with the applicant in maybe
Yeah.
figuring out alternative
And I'm sorry, I
placement
wish I
for
would've
that
caught
trash
that.
enclosure.
Yeah.
That's near
Yeah.
the open space
The
for
open
families
space where we
to-
have the barbecue
Of course.
and Todd, so thank you, I'm sorry I didn't catch that earlier.
No, it's quite all right.
So do the trash enclosures have to have drains to the sewer?
Yes.
Do they
Yes.
have hose bibs?
Yes.
Do they have hose bibs?
No, that has a drainage inlet within the structure area, tie into the sewer system. Yes.
Okay.
I think the trash is the roof, right?
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
covered,
okay.
but
Yeah, trash roof.
I think
Yeah.
I'm thinking that the trash enclosures need to kind of prevent some smell and stuff, especially because of the proximity of the, no matter if we relocate it or be next to the tot lot, that the smell can be, washed down easier if there's hose bibs inside the trash enclosures.
The building, the corner, the location, we can try to put the location you suggest there, but there's a small bicycle parking just next to the building. It's pretty close with the with the residence buildings there. Yeah, we can definitely try that. Yeah.
Should be an architect. Okay, any other questions for? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
At this time, we'll close public hearing. We have this public comment. Anyone in the audience would like to have public comment has 3 minutes to address the Planning Commission. Seeing none, we close the public comment and bring it to commissioner discussion. Whoever wants to go first.
I agree with any requests that my fellow commissioners made. And for me, I just would like to see the inclusion of the rooftop for the jungle gym and the playground area. Besides that, everything looks okay.
I think they made an improvement upon the exterior elevations of the project from the ad hoc committee. I do encourage the use of hose bibs inside the trash enclosures, no matter if they stay in the same location or if they be relocated, in addition to the required connection to the storm drain as well. What I got?
I'm happy to hear from my colleagues that were in the ad hoc meeting that there were some improvements made to the suggested. They are representatives of the community as much as all of us here together, and it makes a big difference when the applicant is more than willing to make changes just to have a better an improvement in our city. So thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you to staff as well.
Commissioner Jimenez.
Same. Yeah, it was nice to be part of the ad hoc committee, offer feedback, and see that it really was implemented and taken serious. And I know we've had issues with trying to make this a gated community. I would still try to see if there's anything we can do to try to make sure that we can try to make it a gated community. I hadn't thought about alternatives where we get rid of those trees, which is hard for me because I love landscaping. But if that meant it could be a gated community given where it's at and for safety reasons, for privacy reasons, and then
Property value.
Property value, especially because there's going to be walkways all the way around and different ways into it, which I really like that were implemented. But we want to make sure that those access points and those amenities are available to the residents and not people crossing through or taking shortcuts or trying to hide in the back. There's teenagers and different people in the area that might use that walkway and end up in that back corner without having any business being in this community. So just for safety, property value, just for the exclusivity of living in a nice gated community. I really would like to see if we can look with the fire marshal and see what we can do to make sure we keep it gated and safe.
It will set the tone for the next developer as well in the area. Thank you.
Yes, and quickly and briefly, I must say that I was so happy to see a project come in this area. I think that whole entire area should be urban village, saying this to the city. I know we have trucks, we have all this other stuff. I'm sorry, we buy them out. We need an urban village, because the whole urban village count, when I voted on years ago, was to have that walkable kind of space to 4th Street, because 4th Street needs to have this too. The idea of urban village is to have shops on the bottom, living on top, and that's a 4th Street, and this pushes in an area. That whole area should be like that, whether it's brownstone type stuff, New York, where you walk in. You want the density because this is where houses are not always going to be affordable, but this also allows a walkable community. And then that whole area, I know what they have in that area, I'm by there all the time, but the idea is that you want walkable, but then out of that, you start creating that 4th Street promenade thing. And from that, people that walk back and forth there want to have safety. So along with the fact you need a fence around there, and what's the big deal about putting gates we're not talking about a guard, we're not talking about those costly things, but you're going to need a gate around there because nobody's going to pay a lot of money not having it in a condo. Okay, but they get away with apartments, but not condos when you're paying $300,000-$400,000. So that's almost a no-brainer. The idea too that you want protection and safety because you're off of Main Street. So hopefully this kind of project would also start doing things to the west, or things to the north, and upgrading this area to where it start making it livable. Now, the other thing too, I'm not sure when you enter this project you're going to have any monument signs or anything like that. and saying we're coming into whatever you want to call this thing, but there would be lighting there and it starts lighting up. This will start getting a creativity for other things to the west of there. You know, we don't want to just be a parking lot for school buses. And I don't just use this as a dump ground. I'm sorry, county, but you just can't have this as a dumping ground for everybody else because they just want to choose Paris. You know, if they have to remove and relocate, fine, but we really need to develop that urban village. You know, my daughter had a dinner in La Jolla, and La Jolla has massive apartment buildings, but it was so crowded because there's dinner and things on the bottom. That created that atmosphere for young people. That created the atmosphere. I mean, it's crowded at 9 o'clock at night. And all it is apartment buildings and things on the bottom. Why? Because they created that atmosphere that people wanted to be in, so they had a little mall. But if you don't create that atmosphere, you're going to go elsewhere. So safety and security, as you said, and we've said, that's a primary concern. But I'm so happy to the developers for bringing a project like this. I mean, you know, and to the Ad Hoc Committee, this is excellent. And this will be hopefully the cornerstone for other stuff in that area. And we'd like to see more than that in that area. That was the whole urban village concept in the first place, and I think it's called courtyard style. But we don't want to be walking in courtyard. I wouldn't want to come out of a condo and say, "Who are you doing in here?" No, how did you get past the gate? And then we have security cameras at the gate. That's a little more, you know, different to sell than trying to say, "Well, I just walked through there. You went to the So you're not going to pay for a guard that's 24 hours. You're not going to do that. That's a ridiculous amount of money. But at least that's security. So anyway, I don't have any other issues. I think they've covered it all, and then a great job. And thank you, no African sumac trees. Please. If I see another one, I'm going to go crazy. But that's it for me. Okay. We'll let you off easy. Okay. This is item D, the requested action. Adopt resolution number 23-08, finding the project as categorically exempt from California Environmental Quality Act review pursuant to section 15332 infill development projects and approving DPR 21-00018 based on the findings and subject to conditions of approval. We did have it's consult with fire concerning the just gates at the front. That should not be an issue. And you can work with staff at taking out that 4 trees, I know. But if that widens that radius, okay, that's one. Shading over the playground area, this is Paris, guys. It's going to be 110 in the summer. Really? Okay. Yeah, they couldn't even touch the equipment. The threat will be 150 degrees just touching the bars. So, you know. And trash enclosure, again, that's with staff, the potential for moving that maybe north of there. No, west in the corner or wherever deemed necessary with the piping. So at least they don't have to make the snow. Okay. I'm not sure about the color. The copper color you mentioned?
Copper, yeah.
Color.
It was just a little, it stood out a little bit too.
Work with staff. It's administrative. Work with staff to see what we can do, but that's, you know, yeah. Okay. Oh, hose bed is part of the trash bin.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else? I think that was it.
I think that was it.
All right. And we have a motion from Commissioner Jimenez already.
What?
I'm about to say. You
That is
you didn't realize you touched it? Okay.
It wasn't even on that slide. Wow, I'm crazy today.
Wow.
It's a time change.
Okay.
It wasn't even on that screen.
Okay.
Let me figure out so you could do your thing.
Okay, now we have a motion. You want a motion? Do you mind, if you want to?
Read it first.
Okay.
Did you read already?
Yeah,
Oh,
uh-huh.
then yes.
Okay, Commissioner Jimenez. What can I say? And the second by Commissioner Lopez.
Commissioner Lopez?
Yes.
Commissioner Jimenez?
Yes.
Commissioner Gomez?
Yes.
Vice Chair Shively?
Yes.
Chair Hammond?
Yes.
With 5 yeses and 0 nos, this motion passes.
Thank you very much. We're almost there, guys. items, and thank you for our city attorney for not jumping on us all night. Isn't that amazing? Just give you the looks, right? What are you doing? Okay, item 7, business item. I don't know that we have a business item tonight. Okay, and I know we'll get you back to Temecula. Don't worry. Item 9, public comments. Anyone who wishes to address the Planning Commission regarding items not on the agenda may do so at this time. Please walk up to the podium and wait for the chairperson to recognize you. I don't have to go through speaking clearly. And 3 minutes to address the Planning Commission. Is there anyone in the public in there? I didn't believe that there are, so we close the public comment section and move on to commission member announcements or reports.
Just want to start off by saying welcome back to Commissioner Gomez.
Yes.
It's great having you back, and it's definitely not the same with you being gone. Also, I want to make an announcement for events that the city's hosting. There's 2 of them that I'd like to shine light on. Witness to Fitness, which is tomorrow at 6 p.m. right here at the Bob Glass Gym. I just want to give a heads up. I've done it before, and it's not easy. It's a tough workout, but lots of fun for sure. They play music and everything. There's a lot of people that show up, so if you can make it, that'll be a good one. Another one is take a hike this Saturday at KBM Park. I've also done one of those. I haven't done this one, but those are also lots of fun. A lot of the residents show up to those, so it's a good turnout. Besides that, just want to thank city staff. Appreciate your guys' hard work. All the useful information you guys always give us, and I hope you guys all have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you. Go for it.
I also want to give Commissioner Gomez a huge, huge welcome back. We missed you. We are a very cohesive group, and when one of us is missing, we kind of try to pick up for the others because we're like, what would she say? What would she be noticing? So I really like that we are a very cohesive team that have gotten to know each other. Huge shout out to the staff that know what we're going to ask, know what questions we're going to have. So we appreciate you thinking ahead. I'm going to make an official placard, a sign that says no words like signage. I'm going to make a sign for that. But I'm hoping everybody's staying safe from this weather. We had snow.
Yes.
2 weeks ago, which is crazy, but I loved it. It was beautiful. And I also wanted to recognize that it's college application time where their college applications are coming in. We've gotten 2 so far for my daughter. So all the families I know are waiting to get those college applications, hoping every scholar in Paris and in our school districts get accepted to their college of choice and get to have their dreams come true.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for your warm welcome. I feel it, and it's actually, I feel the family environment when we're here, and it's definitely it's not everywhere, so I really appreciate it, and I'm really happy to be back. So thank you everybody for welcoming. I really feel the love. When I left, it was still 2022. It's 2023 now, and I have an addition to my family now, so we're celebrating and getting used to that. Thank you. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds for our city, and continue to work with our applicants. And I love the work the staff is doing. They're really putting the work out there for us. This was a longer than normal meeting, but I know that it's all for a good cause, and the work that we put together, it's definitely worth it, and we see it in the growth. So thank you, everyone, and I look forward to those hikes pretty soon. Gosh, yeah, with the weather being cancel, I hope we get one in too. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So, I do want to welcome back Commissioner Gomez as well. It's nice to have her back here by my side, so we can learn and progress further. But I do have one request for staff in the future. One asking if we can do one addition to the landscape plans when we do have the trees, if we could put the estimated height at full growth of the trees on there so we know how high they are. So that's it.
Yes, and thanks everyone tonight for patience. I know it was long because we had skipped another meeting, but you didn't tell us, before I finish, what is your baby's name? Because we've got it on.
His name is Luke.
Luke?
Yes,
Okay.
Luke.
Okay. Congratulations again.
Beth
Okay.
and my husband picked the name
Yeah.
so he could say, the words, Luke,
Yeah,
I am your
okay.
father, so.
Thank you to the staff. Thank you for IT, because we kind of let them alone tonight, but we appreciate the staff. One thing, and I do really want to request, in addition to that, is that we get an update on the things going on in Paris. I'm not talking about proposed stuff, but I'm talking about things actually approved that are in writing, signed, that I know I've been away a while, you have been away a while. Some things you just see visually, but things have gone on for the last several months. And I know some things that are going on, I'm definitely not going to mention today. But it would be nice, a brief update, or if you will have something like that, to see what's going on, because it's a lot of changes. Good things happen, like Placentia. The city came through from there to there. Just beautiful job, like 3 different lanes. And development is coming, and I know we're becoming a very popular city. Everyone asks me questions about, what about that big, it's not Paris, that's Marches for Place, that's Target, please. Yeah. But the idea is people may not know that that is not us. But Van Buren being extended is going to affect Paris. So that little way is going to be a big difference. So you guys, some of you guys are on Harley Knox, so you see the truck traffic and you see what we talk about, right? Honk, 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 honk. Good luck. But please, an update on the things that are going on. I'd be quick. Oh, we got this going on, and it's appreciative. I know that the city council just approved that project up north, right, on Ramona Expressway, and there was a lot of public support on that. But definitely the urban village and the downtown specific plan, which I don't know if maybe you were part of, but I know I was a part of. Part of that urban village concept is multifamily housing. And that's a big need, and that whole area needs to be really addressed. And we got an award for that too. But that whole area needs to be addressed with that type of housing. I mean, there's just no way that we cannot have multifamily. You have to do it. But other than that, I'll defer to the planning manager, planning director, and to our director of directors, right? Okay, so I'm done. Item 11, that is.
And again, welcome back. Commissioner Gomez, we missed you. The commission did their best, but you were definitely missed. Just one item that we have scheduled for April 5th. It's the Green Valley Specific Plan Amendment that Nathan mentioned during his presentation. And we hear you loud and clear. We'll bring you back a report to keep the commissioners informed on what's going on in Paris.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Other than I just want to congratulate Commissioner Gomez for being back. They made up for your absence, and in time, the meeting didn't go shorter. They made up for your feedback. So don't feel too sad about that. Other than that, I just do want to mention that once Chairman Hammond feels a little bit better and is able to walk, we do want to do a tour of more urbanized areas, because you will be seeing, we will likely have more projects in the downtown, just with how interest rates are going. There will be likely more apartments project in the downtown, and that's needed, and you will see more of these type of developments. So it would be good to see that type of development in the nearby areas, particularly in the city of Riverside, so you can get to see the concept of how this gets implemented and what our downtown will look like, and it will slowly transform Paris into a very different city, at least in their downtown. But that's the concept we approved. So I just wanted you to get a flavor of that. So when we get these projects, you have a good reference point to look at. And with that said, just be prepared for the April 5th meeting. We will likely have a few items for you.
Oh, very good, very good. Yeah, I won't be able to attend this time, but I think it's the last resort if you want to go to the Planning Commissioners Conference. I think Sylvia's over. I'm going to skip it, and I hate to do that, but I just don't think I'm quite up for that. But if you guys want to go, no. But if you guys want to go, I mean, I think you have up until the 22nd or 21st. Yeah. So if you want to go, hey, it's Orange County. But other than that, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're light on you tonight. See, we're going to have to make up for that next month, okay? No more Mr. Nice Commission, right? And thank you for taking notes. He's just so quiet and just cheerful. Yeah. Okay. And with that, we have adjournment. And, I mean, do we really need a vote on that? Okay. Okay. Everyone in favor of adjournment? We're in favor of adjournment. Thank you. Okay, thanks.